Welcome to the Chelsea FanCast, fueled by Guinness, powered by celery. Thank God for that. I am Stamford Chidge, and I am joined by the wonderful Jonathan Kydd.
It's a surprise, isn't it, Chidge, to have me on the show? I mean, let's be honest.
I'm bewildered. I never thought I'd see you again after last Friday.
No, indeed, because I reached a nadir, I think they call it. I reached a low, a high low.
Of what?
Yeah, a high low of well, because I got it right, didn't I? 2-2. It's awful that I got it right. The very fact that I was in a mood to be able to get it right was just too much for me. I thought it was, but also I'm now in a complete slough. I'm in a slough of despond now.
And a slough of despot.
Indeed, yes, a slough. Yes, a maiden.
Come glorious bombs and drop on slough.
Yes, indeed.
Bit of Betjeman. We have culture on this show.
Hey. Can you do the one about the train and the postie?
No, but I know the poem, and it's a thing of delight.
Thing of beauty. What a thing of beauty. Him and Larkin, what lovely poets they were.
Oh, one of my favorite poems in the world is Philip Larkin, which starts with, "They fuck you up, your parents. They do not mean to, but they do." Yes, I use that in my work quite a lot.
Do you?
I do. Anyway, we've got a third member of the Troika.
I think we can see him. I've got a little tune for him.
Oh, hello.
Hi ho, Silver!
Woo! That makes you my Tonto.
Oh, I love you. Yes, your Tonto should have been your Tonto. He is the witty birth twin of Chiellini. Hi ho, Silver! Away!
Brilliant. Calm down, Tonto. No, hi guys, how's everyone?
Not now, Tonto.
Not now, Tonto.
Mixing our films. Dan, how lovely to see you again, because we had the pleasure of your company for most of Saturday, didn't we?
Yeah, it's good to be back. It's been a while, so looking forward to talking about another disaster.
Yeah, fuck the football, mate.
Let's not mince words, mate. Let's tell the truth. Yes. Fucking awful pile of.
Yeah. I know. Don't worry, we got plenty of time for that garbage. Yeah. Anyway, listen, as ever, do not forget you can listen to the show live.
Chidge, live.
Yes, live, JK, every Monday and Friday at around 7:30. Unless we do it on a Tuesday, like we are tonight, because of course it was a bank holiday yesterday. I know. Every week I say this, something has changed. It's so infuriating. Anyway, usually live. He missed that one. Oh, well done. I thought I'd catch you out there.
Oh, you did.
Yeah, every Monday and Friday at 7:30. And you can go to Mixlr, which is Chelsea-fancast.mixlr, MIXLR.com, where you can join in the chat by posting on the live chat page. But thank you, well done. We've branched out, as you can probably see. You can see if there's something weird going on with the chroma key thing that we have, because you can't see maybe you can see my hands if I do this. See, we're live. I'm waving to you live. Anyway, yeah, that's right. YouTube, of course, and the Chelsea FanCast Facebook page on, guess what, Facebook. So that it's a simulcast, like they used to say in old money. So you can watch us as well as listen to us, and of course you can comment on the YouTube and the Facebook channels as well. So there we go. Now you can follow us on all of the social media channels at Chelsea FanCast. Of course, listen and subscribe on Acast, because we download this in the old school way that we always have done as a podcast right after the show. And you can get that on Acast, Spotify, Apple, and all good podcast platforms, and all the rubbish ones too. And of course, make sure you leave us a bewilderingly fantastic 5-star review, as if you wouldn't. Now, the other thing you can do, of course, is you can become one of the many Chelsea FanCast Patreons, people who like to patronize us, and I love you all for doing that. It all helps. Now, I mean, we don't really do it properly. We don't have like premium content on there or tiered levels of support. Just bung us what you fancy every month, really. It's very simple. Or, do you know what? Don't bung us anything at all. equally happy. Love you all either way. But if you do want to get involved in supporters, it is lovely. It is welcome. It's also a good way to get in touch, really, because I do tend to look at it just to answer people's messages and things. Reminding me, actually, Jeff Lowry, I owe you a reply. I will do it after this show. Anyway, patreon.com/Chelsea Fancast. And if you do sign up, you will be entitled to a Kerry Dixon banner, a mini one, a replica of the one that you'll find in the Matthew Harding, well, up or lower, depending on your perspective. And of course, you can join our Discord group. Now, the Discord group is quite a lot of fun, really, because it's a bit like, the Mixlr chat room or the YouTube, Facebook chat rooms, 24/7. There's people chatting to each other all times of the day, because we've got a lot of American and other overseas supporters in there. On a match day, it's particularly fun because you'll be privy to the now legendary Paul Crowderville meltdowns, where he rants for England. He makes Jonathan look somnambulant. Crowderville gets riled, and it's a sight to behold, actually. So there you go. He's a lovely bloke, Paul. I never let a word be said against him, but he does like a rant.
We've had him on the show. He was excellent.
Anytime. No, next time he's out. Well, actually, do you know what? Fuck it. We should get him on the show anyway, because what time is it in LA? It's about 10 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, maybe we'll get Crowderville back. We love Paul. Anyway, enough already. Right, there's a couple of other things I wanted to kind of bore you stupid with before getting into. I'm just trying to avoid the football. Have you figured that out yet? Yeah, you probably have. Okay, this is a thing of beauty here. Not the idiot on the left holding the pint of Guinness, because that would be yours truly, unless it's Pochettino. No, it's definitely me.
There's Dan in the background.
There is Dan in the background. Well observed, JK. Yes, anyway, the main thing about this is not the pillock holding the pint of Guinness, which would be me, or the lovely-looking chap in the background, which would be Dan. It is the fact that we have these fantastic T-shirts, which say, got a picture of Conor Gallagher on them, saying, "If they sell Conor, we riot." Now, the beautiful thing about these T-shirts is that they are boiling the piss out of a lot of the muppets and the fuckwits on social media. So if ever there was a reason to buy one, I would say it would be that. Are we serious about rioting here? Well, not really. It's just I saw the phrase on Twitter, actually, and I thought, that's funny. Why don't we make a T-shirt out of that? So it's a bit of Chelsea Fancast humour, really. And it shows that you support Conor as well, I suppose, and it supports us too. So there you go. So if you want to buy a T-shirt, we do all sizes. Men's and women's are available. You can pay via PayPal. Use the friends and family option, though, if you do. Otherwise, we get stung with all sorts of charges. Prices are £25, including postage and package in the UK, £28 in Europe, £30 in North America. This is all including postage and packaging. For elsewhere, rest of the world, do email us and we'll figure it out and let you know. Now, we also do these fantastic mugs. Do you want to have a look at the mugs? There we go. Beautiful mugs. You can have a complete white one or one with blue inside. So there you go. So you can either have a T-shirt or a Conor mug or both. Who knows? Now, the mugs, I think, are £15, £18 and £20. UK, Europe, North America, including postage and packaging. The best thing to do, really, though, is to check out. We've got a merch page on the Chelsea Fancast website now, which I think is chelseafancast.com/category/merchandise. So there you go, and it'll tell you, how to order it. But basically, if you send an order and PayPal to thechelseaspecial@gmail.com, tell us what you want, put your address down as well. We'll get one out to you, because it'd be lovely to get these going. We've got more T-shirts planned as well, so keep your eyes skinned for those. Right, after all that pluggery, well, actually, I'm sorry, I've avoided it for as long as I can, but we will be talking about the football after this.
Oh, Chidge, do we have to?
Yes, we do. Sorry. Well, let's remove that, shall we? Now, the more observant amongst you will notice my obvious Captain Mannering mistake, which is that was one of them. Forgetting to turn my mobile phone off. Schoolboy error. We were going to have a yellow card, red card thing for this, weren't we, JK? I'm going to leave it to you from now on. You need to produce a yellow card and a red card.
I think you got two reds. You got two reds there, Chidge, didn't you? Though.
No, that's a yellow card. Mind you, two reds and there's a sending off. So maybe. Anyway, yes, the more observant amongst you was actually. Do you know what? I shall tell you. Do you know who I got a text message from, JK?
The Queen. Oh no, she's dead.
She's dead. That would have been difficult.
Yeah.
It was from Paul Crowder, and
the very man. Yeah.
Exactly. He says, "Thanks for the delightful words, sir. Kiss, 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 kiss." So there you go.
Okay, when can he come on the show?
Well, I'll get his people to talk to our people, and we'll sort it out. Right. He said, "I'd love to come on any time." Oh, there we go. What a great time to have him on. We'd love to come in. Would love to come on any time. Got 2 films coming out too. May 17th. Hang on, I'm going to just actually open the phone and find out. There we go. Because there's more to this message. Dan, if you're going to make background noise, you better mute yourself because you got those earbuds in. Every chew is amplified by 1,000,000%, but not anymore because you've muted yourself like a legend that you are. Right. He said, all right. Well, IMAX as well. Yeah, I know about one of them, Blue Angel. Yeah, he's definitely he's carrying on. I'm just going to say Blue Angels. There you go.
It's about Emma Hayes, is it?
It should be, shouldn't it? No, it's not.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward. We'll get him on and we can have a good chat about his films as well because I love talking to Paul about his films. Anyway, I'm still trying to put off talking about the football, as you've probably figured out. The title of the show tonight is what I forgot to actually say earlier on. It is Indefensibly Inept, Chelsea FanCast 1123. You could say that about us, actually, Indefensibly Inept. And you would probably be right, but no, I mean the performance on Saturday. I just thought that was the best 2 words in the English language to sum them up. Let's talk about the inept first, which was the poor finishing and the failing to break down 10 men. Yes, 10 men for 55 minutes. JK, I said to Sasha during the match, I said this is arguably one of the most inept and stupid Chelsea football teams I have ever seen in my life.
It's reached that stage now, hasn't it, Chidge, where we're finding it very hard to be forgiving and looking at them and thinking, yes, there is progress to be made. We're now going, what a complete pile of shit that was. I just sit there in despair. I sit there thinking, and particularly after they'd hit the bar, I just thought, God, we're going to lose this now, aren't we? With Badia Shield just failing miserably to look anything like a centre half, and the ball constantly being driven over the 35 yards up in the air. You just watch them and think they're awful. This is an awful team. I'd love to go. Yeah, it's in progress. Yeah, we've got to give them a chance because they're all young, and you've got to give them a go. They are shit. Are we going to make any progress in the season at all? They are complete shit. I can't bear it. I cannot bear it. I'm just. It's so depressing. I sit there with my little heart is just falling out of my trousers. I'm just going, I can't believe this.
I've got a great comment from the lovely Jenny. See if you like that. What do you think about that? Still don't think it was as shit as Southampton at home last season.
It's true, actually. She's right. She's right.
Yeah. I think it was dry. It was drier. That's the point.
Yeah. It's all gone a bit Pete Tong here. They're writing so many comments. I can't keep up with them to remove it. No, go away. There we go.
I love that. I love that. The state of our club, we're just having to compare shits now. I love that. Yes,
I know. Well, true. I mean, if it wasn't just the inability. I mean, I looked at the stats today actually, which was a stupid thing. Second half, we had 6 shots on target, but I mean, I know I hate XG, but put it this way. We statistically were less likely to score by half the amount of goals that Burnley were expected to score in the second half. Well, I mean, they did score 2, so I suppose that's fair enough. Dan, if the finishing and failure to break 10 men down for 55 minutes was inept, I thought the defending was, as the title of the show indicates, indefensible. Piss poor defending. Yeah. Not defending the first goal. failing to defend another set piece goal, and they should have been a third win goal.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first goal was just a worldie. He just caught that so sweetly. I can't really
Closed down. Nobody closed
the thing
it down.
Well, that was coming to that point. This team lacks aggression in defence. There's nobody, because before you had Drogba heading the ball out, Jackson doesn't attack the ball. Nobody attacks the ball. Every single corner was so passive that whether it was zonal marking or whatever kind of marking we're doing, it's utterly shit. As expected goals, it should be excess expected shit. But just think, everything about the team is passive. There's no aggression. There's nothing in that defence that makes you think, whoa, he's put his head where it hurts. They wouldn't do it. None of them do it. Just awful defending. I mean, Petrovic should have done better the second goal, but a free header. I don't know who lost his mouth for the second goal, but he had a free header and he ran at it, got the power. It was too easy, far too easy for them. Rodriguez off the bar had got to rebound the second ball, no one anywhere near it. I mean, had he not been falling backwards, he might have scored that. But literally, free header, second ball. Just dreadful defending. I mean, it's the 6th game in a row we've let in 2 goals.
Yeah.
Sums it up. We're on course to be our worst defensive season for 30 years, I read somewhere.
I think that might be, ultimately that might be one of the takeaways from this season. I mean, it just beggars belief. I mean, to draw and frankly nearly lose to a team who are 19th, who were playing with 10 men for 55 minutes. I mean, what the actual fuck?
Yeah, I was third. I say third championship team we played. Leeds we struggled, Leicester we struggled, and Burnley, to all intents and purposes, is going to be a championship team. We struggled. 2 against Leicester, 2 against Leeds, 2 against Burnley. Inexcusable. But listen, mitigating circumstances. We haven't had a settled back 4 all season. We haven't had the same centre-back pairing, full-backs. It's been a bit of a mess. We haven't had a chance to build relationships with the defenders. But even so, they're so meek and feeble and lacking in any kind of defensive nous whatsoever.
But nobody comes on and impresses us, Dan, do they? Nobody comes and you think, bloody hell, he had a good game. Oh, yeah,
the groundsman looked quite good at half-time.
Did he? I didn't see it.
He looked really good. Yeah, his fork action was great.
He poked a few in, didn't he?
Good fork.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I know we're digressing, but thank God for Cole Palmer.
He was forking better than everybody else.
Must have been.
Yeah, I mean, I could do a better job of some of these. I know if you look, we look at it, we haven't lost in 90 minutes since January, so if that's a very small shoot of positivity, but generally speaking, this team is utterly unlikable, utterly dreadful, and utterly shit, with 1 or 2 exceptions.
You know what? Well, that's actually. Do you know what, Dan? You took the words out of my mouth. I mean, I had a lot of fun watching the game with Sasha. Although my nephew, should anybody be asking, who's this Sasha Blake? But I think he might think that I hate him. Because I mean, of the 6 matches I've taken him to, 3 have been against Burnley, although admittedly the other 2 we walloped them. But we're on a bad run at the moment. That's a 2-2 draw. We lost in the Caribou Cup. What did I take? We lost against West Ham. Anyway,
West Ham,
yeah. But anyway, look, I said to him, we were having a lovely chat, and he knows his football, Sash. I have to say, I'll give him that. I mean, I just kind of turned around to him. I said, "Do you know what, mate?" I said, I think some of our players are just simply not good enough. And never will be. I mean, it's basic stuff. I mean, they just don't do basic things. And I'm going to name the few that sprung to mind.
Name and shame.
Well, Dizazi, Badia Shield, Cucurella, Enzo, Moises, Mudryk, Gallagher, Jackson. Even Gallagher had a poor game, I thought.
Terrible
on
game.
Saturday. But it's basic stuff. They either don't have the intelligence to do or the skill level to do. And I tell you, it's a concern, Dan.
Complete concern, because essentially we bought the Monaco centre-back partnership, and Monaco are 6th or 7th in the French league. They're not exactly signing inspiring players. I mean, I don't think they're particularly good. I mean, they're not bad. They're not Chelsea standards. But then conversely, Chelsea standards now are mid-table mediocrity. We are where we are because we got a shit squad, a shit recruitment for years, and it's in utter best. I think Enzo, he picked up a lot. He got the ball a lot. He was looking for passes, but there was nobody in any space. He's trying to hit like long diagonals, but there's nobody there apart from Malagusto, who's the other shining light of the season.
We'll talk about them. I'm going to talk. I mean, honestly, this first part is going to be. I warn you now, people. If you want to go and make a very long cup of coffee, This first part is going to be miserable, moany, and very annoying. No, JK, come back. Come back. Not you.
As I said to you in the pub, if Chelsea were where we've been in recent years, up at the top challenging, Badia Shield, Tazazi, Conor Gallagher, be nowhere near this team. Gallagher would have been sold 2 years ago. I mean, look, I'm going to get shot down for this, but
no. I mean, look, Dan, you're speaking your honest opinion, and I mean, if I want to get onto the midfield in a minute, actually, because I've done a big thing on it. And as I just to warn people, yes, this is going to be quite a miserable first part. There will be some positives to draw on in the second part, and that will indeed include Palmer and Gusto. But Neil Barnett, our old mate Neil Spy, who we know very well, lovely bloke. He was in the presser, it seems, afterwards, and he asked, this is brilliant, he asked Pochettino this question. He says, it seems that the most important part of a player's career is between the ages of 21 and 24, where they either develop into a real Premier League player, or maybe they just miss out. And so many players here are between the ages of 21 and 24. Is it possible that unless the mentality is right, I think he was being diplomatic in using mentality, I think he really meant ability, is right, a number of these players will miss out? Pochettino smiled ruefully whilst he was asking this question, thought about it, and then said, what a question. It's a good question with no answer. And I just felt that this underlines the utter flaw in this Clear Lake strategy and Winstanley and Stewart strategy, that buying so many players between the ages of 21 and 24 who you really have no Scooby as to whether they will be any good or not, because it's that vital time. He's right, 21 to 24, that's when you find out if they can do it or not. And it looks to me like we're going to end up with 80% of them not being able to do it, Dan.
Exactly. I mean, Jackson was linked with Bournemouth before we signed him. The previous transfer window, I think Bournemouth came very close to signing him. None of these players, if you look, you always look at the barometer, City, Arsenal, Liverpool. They're the top three teams currently. How many of our squads will get in anywhere near those teams? That's where you look at, I think. Would City come after anybody? Would Arsenal? And that's the levels. None of these players will get anywhere near those teams.
But do you think if the team was sprinkled with experienced, excellent internationals, that they would actually
help?
It would help them to evolve. Because I think because there's nobody influencing them at all, because they're all the same age, the chances are some of them will fall by the wayside or do better in other clubs, I'm afraid. They'll get transferred and do much better because they'll be playing in settled sides with very experienced people who can guide them, or they feel more relaxed. They don't feel the pressures on. I think the pressure for some of the players, for Enzo, for example, whether he's bright enough to work, whether he's old enough to realize it, I think if he had more mature Argentinians around him, I think he'd be a better player. You know,
I mean, he's a World Cup winner. I think the problem is all these players. There's no leaders. There's no one around to kind of pull them up with the shoulders. There isn't John Terry or Frank Lampard. I know we're harking back to 15 years ago. But
Dan, that central point is bang on. I think if normally you would integrate, say, 2 or 3 youngsters into a team like this with a lot of older, wiser heads, and they would be carried through the experience. We've now got the proportions are completely the other way around. The 2 experienced players, arguably, are Sterling and Silva. And of course, Silva's not really getting a look in. So it's completely the other way around. So no wonder they're struggling.
And also, we've lost that kind of connection and culture to Chelsea the last 20 years ago, because you'd always have somebody connected to the club at some, like Czech or whoever it might have been, in some sort of senior role that kind of embodied what that great what that great Chelsea team was about. We've lost all that. We haven't got anyone harking back those 3-4 years ago. So that's the team is inexperienced. We've got a coach whose jury's probably all still out on him, whether he's actually the man for the job. Personally, I just don't know, because there's a whole other avenue. If we get rid of him, who do we get in? It took him a long time to build something at Tottenham. It took him 2 years. He was that close to sack at Tottenham when he joined, but then I guess he stumbled across Harry Kane, and the rest is history. What we've got, can I just finish very quickly? Also, we've got to realise is in the last 2 years, this club has been completely and utterly destroyed from different factors, from external factors, governments, the new owners said we're in a real mess. So I'll argue, you got to think, well, we are where we are because of so many external factors. On the pitch has been utterly shit, but that's been as a consequence of everything that's happened to us.
I'm going to bring that up because I'm about to talk about Enzo and Caicedo in more depth, actually, and Caroline, the lovely Caroline. Hello, Caroline. Says Enzo played in Los Angeles on Tuesday night with Argentina. I assume he would have returned from there rather than go to Argentina and then fly to the UK. I mean, I said on Friday that I didn't expect him to play because I thought he'd be jet lagged, and I mean, he wasn't too bad, really.
But he mentioned that. He mentioned that in the press conference.
Well, then fucking pick him then. Pick Caicedo, Cassidy or whatever.
He actually said he's not back yet. We'll find out tomorrow.
It's just bonkers. Listen, I wanted to talk about Enzo and Moises because, frankly, I don't think that they're good enough, and that's my opening gambit here.
Not working, is it, Chidge?
I just don't think that they're good enough, and I think it's the root of the problem, because good midfields, they control games. They basically control the midfield. They win the battle in midfield. Matches are won. In a minute, Dan. I've got a big thing here. I should rephrase that. I've got some serious analysis.
Stay with it, Chidge. Stay with it. I love it. Chidge's thing is big. Let's just go with that.
It's big, people. Believe me.
I had a very different sausage earlier.
Look, we all know. We watch football for a long time. Most matches are won or lost in midfield at the end of the day. So if you've got a good, strong midfield, you will control the game as well, of course, as protecting the defence and setting up the attack, who you would then hope to score goals. And I think this is amongst the roots of many of our problems because I don't see Enzo and Moises, and we'll throw in Gallagher if you like as well, really ever being able to do that. So I thought, so let's think about how good they are. I know. Let's do a comparison of the midfields that we've had down the years. So what I've done, I've looked at who we had in 1991 and 92 when we were last kind of shit, if you like. 98 to 99 when we were actually pretty good, but nothing like we were under Mourinho. 2003-04, so that would have been the last Ranieri season. Then 2008-09, that was Carlo Ancelotti's double season, I think. 2013-14, then recently 2018-19, so that would have been Tuchel, wouldn't it? 21-22, the last year under Roman. 23-24, what we've got now, and this is what we've got. I should just read them out, so just bear with me. 91-92. I wanted to put this on screen, but I didn't. I fucked up the spreadsheet, so I couldn't put it on screen. And I'm so sorry for boring everybody on this. Right. 91-92. We had Eddie Newton, Vinnie Jones, Gareth Hall, Kevin McAllister, Dennis Wise, Andy Townsend, Graham Stewart, Craig Burley. Any three out of that, better or worse than what we have now? And but just to remind you what we have now: Caicedo, Lavia, Ugochukwu, Fernandez, Gallagher, Chukwuemeka, Cassidy, and Nkunku Palmer. Because Nkunku and Palmer are counted as attacking midfielders, according to Transfer Mecht.
Dennis was always marvellous. He was getting better and better. He wasn't, but he's still great. Andy Townsend, whether you loved him or hate him, was actually a very decent player in that period.
Yeah. Vinnie Jones was.
McAllister ran around like a blue-ass fly. Gareth Hall was, okay. He was a defensive midfield, wasn't he, Hall? Jones was just bizarre purchase. Graham Stewart played very well for Everton subsequently. Bobby Stewart, was pretty good. And Burley, but despite our hatred for him, Burley put in some
international player.
Yeah, good performances.
Pick any three out of those better than what we're playing at the moment?
Yeah, absolutely.
So even in our worst time in recent memory, around that period, our midfield was better. Right. 98-99, Eddie Newton, Bjorny Goldbeck, Dennis Wise, Robbie Di Matteo, Jody Morris, Gustavo Poyet. Three out of those three.
Dan, do you want to say?
That's much better. And that was one of our great teams, that late 90s team. What a midfield. I mean, Poyet, Di Matteo, Wise.
Yeah.
I mean, I take all those three now.
Right.
Over our midfield.
Okay. Eddie Newton was a fine player.
Yeah,
that was before we were even invented. Right, now we're being invented. 2003-04. Claude Makelele, Emmanuel Petit, Frank Lampard, Scott Parker, Juan Sebastian Veron, Damien Duff, Jeremy, Joe Cole. Pick any three of those, better or worse?
Fucking hell, streets ahead. Jesus God.
Okay, I'm going to carry on playing this game. Wonderful. I like it. We're almost on for a full house. 2008-9, Michael Essien, John Obi Mikel, Minero, Lampard, Ballack, Joe Cole, Deco. Any three from those, I think better by a country mile.
Yeah.
Deco was considered not one of the best, but you look back on it, was great.
I mean, that midfield, Lampard, Joe Cole, Deco hardly get a game. Or Essien even. I mean, it's just mental.
Right, yeah.
Right, 2013-14. You would have thought it's all going a bit Pete Tong by now, wouldn't you? Oh, no. You could call up any three from Nemanja Matic, John Obi Mikel, Oriol Romeo, Michael Essien, Ramirez, Frank Lampard.
Oh, God, wonderful.
Yeah, I think that's better too. Right, okay, let's go to 2018-19. Surely it's going tits up by now. Oh, no, you can call from N'Golo Kante, Jorginho, who I know I criticise. He had his many faults, but there were things he did very well. I would have him in here as a shot at the moment.
Of course, but that's exactly but it's the same as we talked about there. Marcus Alonso, we were always very critical he can't defend. You'd have him in this team in a shot because of his ability to score and ability to get into the penalty area with a shot. Jesus, there's no comparison. This is
right. Okay, ready? Hang on, I haven't finished. Ready? Kante, Jorginho. Kante, Jorginho, Bakayoko, Kovacic, Barkley, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Cesc Fabregas, and we had some younger players or loan players, Ampadu, Drinkwater, Moses. I just put them in for good measure. But, I mean, again, Fabregas, Kovacic, Kante, Jorginho, way better than what we've got right now. 21-22. I mean, I know people will say, well, this is unfair. These guys have only just started. But, Caicedo has played not a lot. I agree. He played a season for Brighton. And Fernandes, of course, had a season out in, I think it was Sporting Lisbon. So, yes, I know they're young. But I'm just telling you where we've been and where we are now. 21-22, last year of Roman's tenure. Jorginho, Kante, Kovacic, Saul Niguez. Oh, how we remember him. Loftus-Cheek, Mason Mount, Kai Havertz. Again, arguably, I'd still say better than the midfield we have now. And in reserve, we had a lot of youth. We had Billy Gilmore, Simons, Barkley, Lewis Baker, Drinkwater, Webster Vale. I mean, And now we've got Caicedo, Lavia, Ugachukwu, Fernandes, Gallagher, Chukwuemeka, Casadei, and Nkunku and Palmer. So, I wonder. I mean, somebody made a very good point. I mean, we're getting so many comments that it's hard to. Here we go. It's Elliot. Elliot always makes good comments. Here we go, Elliot. Is it reasonable to presume that the underperformance of our midfield trio is due, at least in part, to Poch running them into the ground? I'm inclined to believe and agree with some of that, Elliot. But I think he's run Moises and Enzo into the ground because either we've had so many injuries, like Lavia, for example, Ukachukwu, Chukwuemeka. But I think also maybe he looks at them and says he thinks they're the best that we have. But if they're the best that we have, then I'm really worried because I don't see them as good enough. I really don't, JK.
No, Chidge. Sorry, I'm just in despair, Chidge.
I'm really sorry to have you despairing at this, but we've only done half an hour.
I know. You look back. The fact that one is immediately mentioning the current players makes me sort of, come all over in prickly heat. I just go, oh, God, save us. Other than Palmer, of course, who is, as we're going to get onto it. And also the bizarre situation of Cassidy, who's brought back to play and has absolutely not played. You think, give him a go, for goodness sake. Like to see what he's like. He did very well for Leicester. Having said that, though, Leicester are pretty shit. So, but yes, Chidge, it just reveals, doesn't it, how poor we have become. But I agree completely. He seems to want to throw Enzo and Caicedo in, and I think Caicedo, at least they both make an effort, but unfortunately, making the effort isn't good enough. It's I agree completely. You'd have thought with both those players, we would be completely dominating a midfield. We would be taking it by the short and curlies and setting everything up. Something I've talked about recently is I still think, though, if we had a decent midfield, another midfield player, a creative midfielder, a top player, and a top striker, who would then that would individually score goals that we wouldn't have to. They'd score basically rather than us, whoever we get kicking the ball 25 yards up in the air. we would then possibly be able to, the manager, whoever it is, to concentrate on the defensive qualities that we could then evolve or have, or the onus wouldn't be on scoring as much. So perhaps they wouldn't need to get the ball 6 times into the penalty area, miss 6 chances. So perhaps the balance of the team is incorrect. And given if we did have these 2 exceptional players playing, perhaps we would find better performances from some of the others. But at the moment, the people you've mentioned there are just Lavia. We've got no idea what he's like. The bizarreness of that. Ugochukwu and Chukwuemeka are practically it's practically the same player, because I've no idea what either of them do. I don't know about anybody else here, but I have no idea what their strengths are, because they seem to flit in and out. They're either one of them is injured or the other one is injured. I've yet to develop any kind of affection or knowledge of either of those players, which I think is bizarre. Enzo, I'm aware of how much he tries. I'm aware of how he cannot shoot other than straight at the goalkeeper. That is his stock shot. He had a shot at the weekend that was well saved. That was deflected. Otherwise, gets into good positions. It goes straight at the goalkeeper nearly every time. And Nkunku, we have once no clue about either. So what a strange team this is. What a strange time to be a Chelsea fan. What
a time to be alive.
Yeah. And I think that's a positive, though, isn't it, Chid? That's hey, what a time to be alive. Yeah, hey. Well,
I said it with a kind of a manic madness.
There was a mad irony behind it. This is now what a time to be a Chelsea fan. Yeah.
We live in interesting times, as the Chinese say. Dan, what have you been wanting to say something?
Yeah, I'm just thinking, let's think about this. The team's got no spine. It's got shit defence, shit midfield, shit attack. If they just had better players around them, would their game just naturally raise? Because they're not bad footballers. I mean,
Well, I don't know. I've seen so many errors, Dan. Basic, simple footballing errors from the majority of the team. I really wonder whether they're actually good players.
I mean, Enzo was a World Cup winner, was one of the best players throughout the tournament. So he's not a mug.
We have to give him a pass.
Not pass, but let's not judge him after.
I think Enzo is. I think Enzo is a good footballer. I just don't think in the midfield at the moment with Chelsea, which might have something to do with Poch, might have something to do with the system, might have the fact that he's overwhelmed by the shit around him, that maybe it's affecting him. I accept that he's a good footballer, but I would pick all the people that we've just laid out of all those previous years. He doesn't get into any of those midfield.
Yeah. Do you think if these players cost, say, 70 million between them, there'd be less fuss? Because the fact it's £220 million midfield, there's so much more spotlight on them and judgment on them because they cost so much money.
I agree totally. And I tell you another thing, Bowley et al. Could, or Clearlake, as we should say, could have adopted a different strategy.
Isn't it Blue Co? Shouldn't we be saying?
Blue Co. Yeah, you're right. Whatever. They could have adopted a different strategy. They could have said, okay, listen, guys, this is not going to be like it was under Abramovich. You have to accept that that's gone. We are not a billionaire who's got a toy and wants to spend money and doesn't care how much he loses because he just puts his hand in his pocket. We're not going to do that. And anyway, we're not going to do it because we think it's unsustainable from an FFP and PSR basis. So we're going to try and make this club sustainable. We also don't think it's sustainable for an FFP and PSR basis because of the revenue that we don't have, because we have a small stadium to go and spend, 200 million on world-class established players. So what we're going to do is we'll spend a little bit of money on some really well-established players, maybe buy 1 or 2 world-class players, and then we will populate the rest of the side with this amazing academy products that this club has produced, because we've had this reputation of one of the best academies in world football for years. So we're going to take advantage of that because we don't have to pay them as much in wages. They're homegrown, and of course, all the other things that they're saying would apply, that we can sell them if they're really, really good, and we need to. But we think that they, with a good mix of experienced players and world-class players, will come good. And I think if they'd have done that, everybody would have been behind it. The matchday fans would have been behind it. It would have been a bit like what happened with the transfer ban, which, I know a lot of it was ruined by COVID, but it's one of the most fun times supporting this club that we've had in the last 20, 30 years, even though, we weren't winning everything. But we had a lot of these guys coming through. They were bloody good when played with experienced players, a few older, wiser heads. Given an opportunity, they were all right. But the reason they were all right is they had the backing of the supporters, Dan, didn't they? I mean, everybody was behind them. And I think if Clear Lake had come in and done that, would have had much more sustained backing, would have been the supporters would have been far more forgiving, because it would have been, well, they're young, they're kids, they're ours, we got to get behind them. Whereas you've come from Brighton, we spent 115 million quid on you. What the fuck for? You know, it's a very different proposition, isn't it?
Yeah, I think, to be fair, I mean, whoever came in after Abramovich is going to have big shoes to fill, regardless of what happened, because, you know,
but if they'd have been honest and adopted a different strategy, it could have been very different.
But did they actually talk strategy? They actually say X, Y, Z? They've just come in, they bought players. I mean, the Potter transfer window, they spunked all that money on those players. They parachuted in, who was it, Mudryk, Fernandez, whoever else in. They've just been through a lot of shit and hoping some of it sticks. And the plan is a lot of these players, they'll sell them for profit, because you paid £30 million a player, book value in 2 years drops to 15 million, sell them for 25 million, you've got your 10 million profit. A lot of these players are all experiments, aren't they? They're not bought, I think, any particular strategy, because we left ourselves with one striker, 2 bang average goalkeepers, with all due respect. And, you know, it's a hit and miss. They've come into football not really know anything about the football culture, anything about how to run a football club. They're trying to make it like a baseball model, and it just doesn't work. They did too much too quickly. They should have kept people in key positions the first 6, 8, 10 months, just for a smoother transition. They could have got better advice. I just think they've gone at it, bull in a china shop, from top to bottom, and as a result, it's gone utterly to shit. We've fallen down quicker than acid wet on a Saturday night. It's just ridiculous.
It is, and most troubling, I'm afraid. Listen, you lovely people, we are going to have a quick break, and then we're going to come back, and we'll there are some lovely positive things to talk about, not least of which is the wonderful ice cold Parma. So yes, I'm going to cheer you up, JK. I think you deserve it. So we'll be back in a jiffy.
Real fans, real opinions.
I'm Jason Cundy, and you're listening to the Chelsea Football Fancast. Proper Chelsea.
Footballfancast.com.
There we go. Who are we to argue with Jason Cundy? Proper Chelsea indeed. Now, I'll tell you somebody, by the way, I'm Stamford Chidge, I should have said, and I'm joined by the lovely Jonathan Kydd.
Hey up.
And the equally lovely Dan Hi-Ho Silver.
Good evening.
Lovely to see you, Dan, as always, mate. Proper Chelsea. Somebody who is eminently becoming proper Chelsea, I think, is the wonderful ice cold Palmer, who scored one of the filthiest Panenkas I've ever seen. Actually, it was an absolutely delight of a penalty, and then he actually added to that with a brilliant goal. Props to Sterling for a nice little flick. Proper goal. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Then the other thing about it, actually, he made I'll get to the quote later, but let's have a look at this. Look at this. He's now beaten Eden Hazard for the most goal involvements in a debut season. For goal involvements means goals and assists. He's got 16 goals, and therefore a process of elimination tells me that he's got 5 assists. Sorry, 16 goals, 5 assists. So Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank got 32. I can't actually read that. I think it's 2001. Diego Costa got 23 in 2019. Is that 19 or 18? I can't read it. It's too small for my poor eyes. Fabregas got 21. Cole Palmer's on 21. He will get more. So he's likely to overtake, I would have thought, both Costa and Fabregas. I doubt whether he'll overtake Jimmy. Eden Hazard got 20. So, I mean, dear old Cole Palmer is doing rather well. He's bucking the trend. He's been an absolute outlier in another worse season of mediocrity and shit. He also said this after the game. I kind of liked this. I kind of like this a lot. See what you boys think of this. It's poor. I wish he'd actually said it in this accent, JK. It's poor. Very poor. He didn't. He just said it's poor in a Manc accent. It's poor, really. It can't happen, especially when they go down to 10 men. We got too comfortable. Same story. We kill ourselves every week. It's got to improve from us as players. We need consistency. I kind of like that. I like that. That tells me he's got bollocks and leadership as well, JK. He's a cracker.
He's not laying the blame, is he, on anybody? He's
saying it's bollocks, mate. We need to do better.
Yeah.
But isn't he a cracker? I mean, that statistically is quite phenomenal when you think he's what? Is he 19? Please tell me he's 19. Is he 19?
Just turned 20, I think.
Just turned 20.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. Phenomenal. I mean, we have unearthed an absolute rough diamond here. We really have.
It was a fluke, us buying him, wasn't it? Wasn't he the third choice?
Yeah.
I think they'd had bids for Gordon and what's his name? The
Emil Smith Rowe.
Yeah, and Smith Rowe and the United winger that keeps dyeing his hair blonde. What's his name? Garnacho. What's his name?
Garnacho.
Yeah.
He looks like what was that bloke in the Tropic Thunder? What's the one with Never Go Full Retard? Tropic Thunder.
I haven't seen the film.
It's a hilarious parody film. Simple Jack. I think Garnacho looks like Simple Jack from that movie. If you know the movie, you know what I mean.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Chidge, but I'm sure it's great.
It is great. I mean, there'll be people out here who know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I mean, Palmer's just been absolutely brilliant. I mean, he's the outlier in a season full of shit. I mean, he's nailed on to get the Player of the Year. Surely, isn't he, JK?
Yes, any shadow of doubt. The other one was the Palace player, wasn't it? Elise was his name.
Michael Elise.
I mean, you could see what they were trying to do, which was to buy nifty wingers, and the other one, of course, what we bought was Lavia, who's just been, completely disastrous. Once again, I would like to know what he's like as a player. In the same way, I'd like to know what Nkunku's like. I don't
care. I want to talk about how good Palmer is. This is the only bit of the show which is going to be vaguely positive. Don't deny me this.
Okay, I won't deny you that. Can we not talk about Chukwuemeka? No. Okay. No.
I want to talk about Palmer because I think he's brilliant.
No. Okay. Yes, completely phenomenal. I agree. But I've been going on about that. I said that. I did it in my fan bite.
No, you did. Great fan bite, by the way.
Thank you. But I really felt it. I find it so much easier to do them if I'm hurting, I'm afraid. Just because it's the experience of having watched them for over 50 years. You just think, I've gone through all of this wonderful experience of watching wonderful players, and we're then having to put up with this. But he is, as I said, he'd walk into any side. For me, Palmer. He would be, or on the subs bench and come on and take people, apart. His potential is phenomenal. They've got to get players to be around him who are as good as him. I mean, he's like the yardstick. You think, well, hang on, we've got him, but did you realize that he would be as good as that? Surely you've seen other players who could have slotted in who would be at the same level as him. I'm not saying obviously the same player, the same position, but people at the same level. Because he is absolutely streets ahead of everybody. He's a proper player, proper class player. And I despair of everybody else around him. It's just, you think, well, he's going to do something. Well, he scored 2 goals. Actually, the second goal was great, as you said. And suddenly Sterling does something really good. And then Sterling misses the most obvious, easy header later on. Oh, my goodness me. Sorry, I've stopped talking about Palmer. I've talked about Sterling being.
Yeah, I knew it wouldn't last, but I enjoyed it while it did.
Yeah, it was good.
We had joy. We had fun.
Seasons at start, absolutely. Terry Jacks, yes, indeed.
Yeah, what was the song? We had joy. We had fun.
We had seasons to the front.
We had Arsenal on the run, but the joy did not last because the bastards ran too fast. There you go. Olden but golden.
Well remembered. But I love him. Wonderful. But you don't know what is going to evolve the rest of the. Well, if he, as I said, I was worried he'd get. Yeah, I've jinxed it now by saying he's one of the few players not to have been injured. And you think, well, what is it? Why hasn't he been injured then? What is it about his abilities? Is it the Frank Lampard thing that he's so good? Or have I jinxed it now?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it is. Dan, there was a bit of chatter going on. People making rumours about the club wanting to sell Ree James, which I think, given the source, is complete bollocks. But I mean, where we are as a club, for 2 reasons. One, they clearly are desperate to avoid FFP, PSR issues, and B, we're a pile of shit. So if anybody decent does come calling at the moment, these players are going to go, yep, thanks very much. I mean, in the old days when we were winning everything, people would go, fuck off, I'm better off at Chelsea because I'm going to win shit. Now they're going to go, do I wait maybe 3 or 5 years for never, or do I go to a bigger club now? So you can. It worries me. Somebody next year, even in the summer, might say, "We'll give you 100 million for Palmer," and I can see this lot going, "Yeah, all right."
I mean, to be fair, if we don't pull our socks up the next couple of years, maybe 26, 27 could be a very distinct possibility. If you see City buying him back for 100 million. Maybe they've got a buyback clause in the contract. I don't know, but listen, we'll come a point where we'll become a selling club, like Arsenal were. When they had to sell a good player every year just to survive, and they accepted fourth to be, acceptable. So we've got to be very careful. The next season, arguably, is going to be key to the next sort of 5, 6, 7 years of where we go on and off the pitch. I don't think Reece will go because
for fourth. I'd bite your hand off now for fourth.
I know, yeah, exactly, yeah. I'd bite your hand off to actually have 3 wins in a row. But I just think someone like Ree James, given that he's not had the full season for 3 years, I can't see anybody paying money for him until he's put in 30, 40 games in a row. As good as he is, he's injury prone. He's not had a full season for 3 years, and no one's going to, give us 80 million quid for somebody who's got dodgy hamstrings. But Cole Palmer's our most saleable asset right now. There's nobody else who's going to get anywhere near silly money. I mean, if we had to sell Fernandes or Caicedo, massive loss, wouldn't even break even on our book values for these players now. So really, Palmer's our goose that might lay the golden egg.
Yeah, I mean, that's what worries me from a financial point of view. I mean, alternatively, if you are a serious club and you want to challenge for things going down the line, Palmer is the kind of player you build a team around. Actually, I mean, I think he's really that good. So watch this space. Be interesting to see what happens. Now, the other player who I think has excelled himself this season and has put his head above the parapet. I mean, this is the interesting thing, actually. I was listening to the radio. I think it might have even been Talk Sport, God forbid, but they were actually talking some sense. They were saying, really what they thought was how Chelsea players, these young players collectively shrink. They can't handle it. They can't handle the pressure at Chelsea. We've said this for years and years and years. We've had certain players coming in who we thought would do really, really well, and they stunk the place out. And the conclusion was they couldn't handle the pressure of playing for a big club. People used to say this of Man United all the time. Well, for 20 years, you could say the same at Chelsea. And there were a number of players that you thought would do well at the club and just didn't. And we seem to have, a bunch of youngsters who I feel quite sorry for, actually, because the pressure on them is even worse than it would be for an established player in a way. And I think they can't handle it. But the two who can are Palmer, who carries the team in many respects, takes the weight of responsibility on his shoulders as well, seems to love it. Nothing phases him. No pressure's too great. I mean, he takes the penalties. To do a Panenka like that, I mean, he's got balls, mate. Huge, great, big, hairy mank balls, I tell you. But the other one, who I would put in the same category, is Malo Gusto. I like him. He's got bollocks. He doesn't care. He's not frightened of making a mistake. He'll try things. He'll put his foot in. He's got hunger, desire, and a lot of attitude. And it's a really good attitude, JK, I think. I like him a lot.
I think you missed the fact that he's really speedy as well, Chidge.
Yep, great pace. Yeah.
Really good skill and crosses well. There was a doubt about that, saying, he never crosses as well as Ree James, but he's a fine crosser of a ball, but also he gets into very good positions on the byline. He's a very good player. And he's also a very decent defender. So some fantastic tackles he gets. He's a very good eye for the ball. They're the two for me that have actually come out of the season.
The two positives.
Yeah, the big two positives. Yeah.
I mean, I'm
afraid Chilwell is stuttering and is nowhere near the player he was. But
I wonder if that's down to the injuries he's picked up.
Yeah,
I do worry about whether he'll get back to that level. Yeah. I mean, we should also mention Conor Gallagher, because I think Conor Gallagher has upped his game from last year. He has improved. But like we were saying earlier on, if you go back to the teams of yore, he'd struggled to get in. I think he would have been a fundamental part of Frank's transfer ban team. I do think that. But I think take that season away, I think he would have been a squad player. I don't think he would have been first on the team sheet. And I love Conor to pieces. I mean, fuck me, we've got these T-shirts with him on, But I having said that, I think, for consistency, if we were having the player of the season vote today, it would be between Palmer and Conor, because I think Conor's put in a lot of really, really good performances all through the season. But I mean, Conor was here anyway. So Gusto we signed, Palmer we signed. I can't think of anybody who we've signed who's got anywhere near making as many contributions as them or looking half as good, Dan. I mean, it's quite poor, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, no one, not one single
not
player.
One.
I mean,
not one little one.
Mudryk is beginning to show a bit of what we paid a lot of money for. A couple of nice bits and pieces done recently. But Carney, again, in flashes, he knows where the goal is. But that's it. And Mudryk is, if we're saying Cole Palmer and Malo Gusto are 9s and 10s, Mudryk is 6 or 7 at best. The rest are all 4s.
Yeah.
Could do a lot better if the school report came out end of the season.
Well, I was going to call this show the Curate's Easter egg, because that would have been funny. And it's Easter.
Put in Christian parts.
Oh, apparently, yes. But anyway,
the show's good in all parts, though.
Oh, I like it. Yeah. Well, I just thought that was appropriate, but indefensibly inept. I thought, as I said in the lead up in the intro, I can't think of two better words in the English language that describe the display I witnessed on Saturday. Anyway, the really good news is that the aforementioned Malo Gusto, who is proving to be a really good buy, it looks like he's got a hamstring injury. Have you got any news on that, JK? How worried do we need to be?
Well, he went off with a hamstring problem, so but the presser is tomorrow, of course. So
I know. Yeah, we're a bit jinxed by that. There'll be no JK presser summary in part 3.
Well, I could do it on my own,
Make it all up. It'll be the same answers.
Yeah.
But anyway, we don't know. But I have a suspicion, well, if it's a hammy, he could be out for a while, which is disastrous. Talking of which, actually, I caught up with a love. I mentioned Ben Dinnery, Premier injuries. He's brilliant, Ben. He says, heading into the international break, Chelsea sat second overall for time loss injuries in the Premier League. So there we go. So it validates the point I was making a week ago about, we are the kings of the injury list. He also gave I put it in the notes. We're not going to read it out now, but it gives all of the explanations and stuff. So anyway, I hope. All right, okay. Lovely. We got news, breaking news from Scott Lidgett. Hello, Scott. Lovely to see you. 75% chance of playing via fantasy football site, according to them. So, okay, so maybe he's not as bad. Good. I hope not, because I think, as I said, he's been another shining light.
A beacon.
A beacon. He's been a beacon of positivity, unlike this this podcast. Right now, okay, we've done the good bits. We're going to go back into the horrible bits now, but also with a bit of hilarity. Frank Leboeuf, who I've had the pleasure of talking to on several occasions, and I love. I loved him as a player for this club. Frank has been even more miserable than us. This is what Frank had to say after the match on ESPN. I think he says, "I'm fed up. 10 men Burnley." I think actually Frank this season has channeled his inner JK. He's doing his own version of the fan bite for ESPN after every match. I'm fed up. 10 men Burnley should have won the game. Chelsea Football Club against Burnley. That's the end of it. No, it all went a bit German.
He became German, yeah.
Maybe he's from Alsace-Lorraine. I don't know.
Yes, of course.
Anyway, I should do that again because I've really ruined it. Sorry, Frank. I'm fed up. 10 men Burnley should have won the game. Chelsea Football Club against Burnley. That's the end of it. I want to congratulate the fans for still being able to go to Stamford Bridge to watch that. Brilliant, Frank. The Chelsea players have no stamina, nothing in their heart, nothing in their brain. They don't know what to do. It's unprofessional and unfair to the people who love this club. Sorry, but the people on the board have destroyed this club. That's what you have to face. How do you rebuild that? I don't know. It's going to take a long time. Well, there you go. Frank's not happy, and then I came across. I'll do this later. I mean, it's hard not to disagree with Frank. Actually, no. I've got this stat from Opta, which you might like. Chelsea have a 44.3% chance of finishing inside the top 8 of the Premier League, and stand a 20.3% chance of finishing 8th, according to the latest Opta supercomputer, which means they have a roughly 56 and 80% chance of not. If you prefer it that way round.
What sort of the chances of finishing in the bottom 4?
I've no fucking idea, mate. And one of my favourite tweets from Blue Tinted Left Back, who many of us know. He uses the word recursive, which I was very impressed with. He says, it's recursive now. The manager isn't good enough to raise the players. The players aren't good enough to raise the manager. In the middle of it all is a board that will double down on everything it has done wrong. 1 billion quid, or sorry, I should say, £1 billion to look like this. Hopeless. Yeah, I totally agree with you, mate. Anyway, look, that aside, that aside, it's just quite unbelievable, isn't it? Here's the thing, Dan. Where's Poch in all of this? Is his? I mean, I called the show Indefensibly Inept. There are people who would say that that's what Poch has been. I mean, is his position now indefensible?
I mean, I think he'll survive the season. I can't see them making any changes now. But then have we? It depends on what metrics you're going to use. Have we improved? Have we scored more goals? Yes.
I mean, I think we've looked better in areas. I mean, I know we've been miserable tonight, but we have, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, there are shoots of improvement. The fact that we haven't lost in 90 minutes since January. I think Wolves, the only game we've lost recently. We got 14 games unbeaten at home. Now, these are very small margins compared to what we used to, but there's a balance of where we are, what we're used to. Has he improved any players? I mean, Palmer was a good player. Has he made Palmer better? Gusto. I mean, can you actually categorically say that Pochettino has improved a player? He's improved parts of what we do, but there's still a real lack of kind of any game plan, defensive setup, ability to hold. I mean, like Newcastle, we were hanging on for dear life. Leeds, Leicester, 2-up, 2-2. So many basic errors we're making. Now, do you blame the manager for not setting the team up properly, or do you blame the inexperienced players with no leads on the pitch? Because ultimately, Poch can do all he wants pre-game. But if we go on the pitch and miss 6 chances and let in 2 stupid goals because we're not aggressive in defence, that's the fault of, whose fault's that? Where do you lay the blame? It's very, very difficult. Jose would come in and set a team up. They'd all know their duties and they would execute it superbly. That got first title season letting in 15 goals. Superb defence. Everyone knew their job. Everyone knew what they were doing. But then we had stability. That whole season, you look at all the players that played, pretty much most of the players were playing 30 plus league games. We had stability. We didn't have injuries. This team's had no stability all season. Virtually changed every single match. We've had 2 goalkeepers who are, in my opinion, particularly good enough. Key players injured. We go into the season in Cundy, our great hope, and he's barely kicked the ball for us. So many mitigating circumstances, and it's a shit show. Where's the blame lie? The board for bringing in 150,000 players all under the age of 17 who haven't kicked a ball. I mean, it's a downside better than Potter, put it that way.
Yeah, I mean that wouldn't be hard. I mean, one thing I would say, I would agree with with Dan on a lot of that, JK. I mean, the injuries definitely a mitigation. The assembly of the squad definitely a mitigation. The fact that they're young and experienced, it takes time, and I thought he explained it quite well about how he has to deal with some of these players, and some need more time than others, and so on and so forth. There's a lot of interesting things in all of that, and I do feel for him on that. But then again, do you know what really pissed me off about Saturday, JK? It was the fact that, guess what happened after half time? They are down to 10 men. Remember this. They came out at us like their lives depended on it. And it's the same pattern we've seen so many games this season. Half time.
Brentford, yeah. Exactly the same. The same.
At half time, and we said it on the show, didn't we? We wondered if opposition managers just know this. They know for some reason, certainly if they're up, the Chelsea players come out after half time and they've switched off. Palmer almost admitted it in that statement he made, but they switch off. So the opposition manager goes, right, we all know, we've all played football, even at the awful level that I played at. the manager would notice things during a game. He said, right, watch that one. This is what he does, So I wouldn't put it past the opposition manager to go, right, we all know that, in fact, there are people who are yet to be discovered in the Amazon rainforest who know that Chelsea will switch off if they're ahead going into the second half. Go at them. Go right at them in the jugular from the off.
That business of actually not closing people down at the edge of the penalty area has been happening all season. It was exactly the Everton goal away. It was and also the Newcastle goal where the boy who never played before passed the ball through and there was no challenge made. It's like it's almost as if they go so far asleep that they just don't. If you look at every other Premier League side, the second anybody gets the ball, I was watching the Man City game at the weekend, Arsenal game. Every player is on for every single shot or pass to block it. They're like limpets. They're just straight on them immediately. We have none of that at all. There is no admission that somebody might be in a position. It's what I think was mentioned earlier on the chat there, and Kenny Swain mentioned it in the Troubadour. You shouldn't be letting teams shoot.
Yeah, definitely.
You just get right on top of them every time, and we don't appear to have that hunger. We don't appear to have that very basic defensive ability just to close people down, which everybody does in the Premier League to a phenomenally athletic degree. But that's the norm. You accept that. Shots are very rarely got off. It was so difficult for Arsenal to get a shot off against City and vice versa because they're on top of them all the time, snapping at them. Everybody blocks. If one person blocks, there's somebody else behind to block. So what happens at the beginning of the second half? He's got the freedom of Stamford Bridge, the bloke who scored. And he does a kind of rather balletic volley that hits the outside of his foot and swirls away into the corner. I mean, as you said, Dan, he took it well, but blimey, he had all the time in the world. There was nobody on him at all. It was like it was an after you, Claude situation. It was Sunday football. Oh, look, there's a bloke on the edge of the penalty area. I don't want to get too close. I might have the ball in my goolies, or it might hit my thigh or something. So I won't get too close. It was horrendous defensive work by Chelsea. He took it well, the boy, but he should never have been given the opportunity. Never get the opportunity just to come up and volley it like that. It should be somebody on you immediately. So,
yes, indeed. I mean, I mentioned that earlier, and I stand by that comment. I mean, it's hard, isn't it? Because Poch can't kick the ball. But I do wonder what on earth he says to them at half-time, Dan, when they come out like that. I mean, it's so obvious that opposition managers just know they're going to switch off and take advantage of it. It drives me up it does my head in.
Richard, you'd have thought that they would be absolutely receptive of that and therefore make an attempt. What does he say to them? Is that a Poch error? Sorry, Dan, to leap in. I apologise. But
no,
hey.
Not at all. It boils down to this team's mentality. They haven't got one. They haven't got that desire, the hunger, experience. The game management's shit. There's no game management. There's no, Arsenal now doing these tactical fouls against Manchester City, all the time that Pep does so well. There's no tactical fouls. There's no game management. They don't know how to control a game. Like,
that's very true.
Newcastle game, 3-1 up. We give away a goal in the last minute for Cucurella makes a stupid challenge, 3-2. Leicester 2-0, 2-2. Even Burnley, they just cannot manage a game. They don't have experience and leadership. That's what this team is lacking. Maybe if you look at it very broadly, there's some very talented players there that are very inexperienced and haven't got any leadership. I know we've got Thiago Silva, but he's 39. He's not the answer. He's been exposed time and time again this season. Despite what a wonderful player he is, he's been exposed. We need a captain, a proper vocal captain. As Connor's captain, not vocal. Chilwell, when he's captain, isn't vocal. Ree James isn't vocal. There isn't a real kind of powerful vocal captain in that team. There's no leadership, no experience, and that's where we're falling down massively. Because you think some of these games, a good experienced team would have gone on and scored a third against Burnley, maybe a fourth, put the game to bed. That's it. As soon as they score a goal, it's squeaky bum time for this team. They cannot, for whatever reason, get over the line.
Well, the worrying thing is that I had a feeling that we might be in a position where we could have a bit of consistency, but that's gone. I mean, I've been talking about us maybe scraping into 7th. I was saying, didn't I, last week? I said, look, I mean, in fact, actually, ironically, we still are. I mean, we've got 2 games in hand on West Ham, and we're only 4 points behind them. They're in 7th. Alternatively, both Fulham and Bournemouth, who are in 12th and 13th respectively, are 1 and 2 points behind us. We've got 2 games in hand on Fulham, 1 on Bournemouth. I mean, this carries on. We're going to finish where we are now, or arguably 12th or 13th. It's really, really fucked me off, because I really did believe, I thought we'd go on an upswing, but it doesn't appear like that, Dan.
Yeah, like 2 games in hand of Spurs and Arsenal, not exactly easy games at the moment. But having said that, we have done better against team, like City haven't beaten us this season. Liverpool at home was pretty good. Arsenal at home pretty good. I mean, we said our next 4 games, including Burnley with United, Sheffield United, and Everton, if we get 10 points, then that would be a respectful amount. It's not beyond the realms of possibility we could still get 10 points, because the United team are utterly shit, and we're due a win against them. Sheffield United utterly shit. If we could shithouse 3 wins, then suddenly the whole season looks very different. I know you're looking for consistency. We're not losing games, but we're not putting games to bed. We're having, apart from Liverpool and Wolves, we've generally done okay the last few games. I know it's kind of all lost about the myriad of shit going on social media, attacking the players, attacking the, Bowley and co. Season could look very different in 3 weeks' time.
Yeah,
if we somehow manage to.
Yeah. Well, and we're in the. Go on.
I was about to say this. If we end up coming 7th, it's an improvement on last season. We somehow managed to beat Man City and win the FA Cup. Then you think, well, FA Cup and 7th, it'll be an okay season. It's a trophy, and it's.
If we win the FA Cup, if we win the FA Cup, it's an okay season. Period. But if you just look at the league in isolation, it's pretty shit, to be honest. It's not where we need to be. And I think, for me, this is the point. If we believe everything that we hear and read and see, it is imperative for a club who do not enjoy the potential to make as much money as clubs who have bigger stadiums, and that Clear Lake's finances are all kind of geared towards that. They're missing out on Europe again. It's going to be a serious financial issue, as well as a footballing issue. I mean, we're all got the hump, because we won't be in Europe. But I mean, actually, financially, it'll be really worrying. Right. This reminds me, actually, George Sims, who writes for the Eye, whatever it is, I can't remember. But anyway, it's a newspaper. Anyway, he said this, which I thought was interesting. It's a bit long, so bear with me. When assessing the new Chelsea, it can be easy to make excuses to simply consider the changes week on week and ignore the bigger picture. Yet, while it's been said time and time again, it still bears reiterating. Bowley and Egbally bought a football club that, although it had an ageing squad, was 1 year on from winning the Champions League. They spent 1.19 billion on players to make Chelsea demonstrably, unavoidably worse. It is mismanagement of one of the biggest football clubs in the world on a scale which has rarely been seen. The grand plan to invest wildly and solely in youth was based on a pipe dream and financial model never previously seen in football, because anyone who understands the game knows it would be virtually impossible to pull off. Massive scale change is not an excuse for underperformance when you're the ones implementing that change. Pochettino has been set up to fail, and the careers of some incredibly promising footballers are potentially being ruined due to the ignorance and arrogance of some greedy billionaires. Strong stuff, JK.
But absolutely correct, Chidge. I agree with every word of it. It's so easy to be kind of sentimental about all of this and say, yes, but, they did well coming in and, after Abramovich and the awfulness of the Ukraine situation. And yes, you've got to give them time. And yes, all right, they were misguided. But to me, they
brought this on themselves. They didn't have to go and spend £1 billion on these players.
That is the real
fucking emperor's clothes.
Angle. That is the right angle to come from. It is indeed it's one of the biggest football clubs in the world. I keep going on about that. We are an elite football club, and it's mismanagement on a scale which has rarely been seen. It's absolutely correct. For one of the most famous, biggest clubs in the world to be in this position is execrable and pernicious. Absolutely appalling.
It is. Just very quickly, Dan. Trevor PB says they bought established stars when they rescued the Dodgers. So why different for Chelsea? Good point. Dan.
Yeah, I was just going to say similar that, £1 billion, you could have better off spending, £1 billion on 7 or 8 superstars rather than, potentials, same money. Yes, okay, they resell. But then you think if you bought a superstar, shirt sales, all the other crap that goes along now with modern football, surely that brings in more money. It's just a really bizarre, clueless way of doing stuff. I mean, on the non-footballing side, I know there was no foundations in place. They've had to rebuild that because obviously very much, here's £1 million a week, don't care about anything else. They've had to rebuild the club on the non-footballing side, and I get that. I don't agree with all they're doing in terms of these stupid gimmicks, but they're going to have to build the revenue because we haven't got an oligarch now to throw money at stuff. So they're going to have to build the business side. But the footballing side, because Burnley was sporting director, wasn't he, the first year? And he just went out and paid 60 million for Cucurella. I mean, Jesus Christ, the fucking headless poodle. I mean, just baffling. He thought, oh, he looks good, we'll buy him. He looks good, we'll buy him. He's 17, he looks good, we'll buy him. I mean,
but they somehow use Brighton as a kind of template for excellence that hadn't been proven, had it? And the fact that they're not playing as well, and yet we're still being linked with players, and it's still being even suggested, whether that's rubbish, that Zerbi will end up being the manager. We're apparently linked with him. Is kind of proof of the way that people's minds are working. Is that the case? Are they really looking at Brighton as an example? I mean, they've just got this the bloke they've just nicked from them as as one of the more stats gurus was. What has he achieved?
Paul Jewell's son. Yeah.
They're about 11th and 10th. Is that the norm? Is that, I mean, they're so misguided. They have made so many errors.
I mean, the Brighton model was good for a club like Brighton, all due respect.
Yeah.
A regional club, smallish fan base, great model. They've now turned £120 million profit without the Caicedo money. So some of this club now are, it's still respectfully still Brighton and not going to be able to get the world stars because it's Brighton. But that model for a team like Brighton is brilliant, completely self-sufficient, haven't got to put any money in, really, really good. I don't know why Brighton. I mean, you look at if you're a big club, you look at Man City
or Liverpool.
Or Liverpool, yeah. I mean, Liverpool's probably a better example because arguably Liverpool probably more legitimate and haven't got 125 charges.
And they've got American owners. They've got with a very similar track record to this lot.
Yeah,
a lot of hedge fund people.
Glazers at United, utterly shit. I mean, United have had 12, 30 years of dog shit under Glazers. Only now with Ineos coming in, they might maybe all turn the corner. But it just, they've literally got a bull in a china shop, completely replaced everything without a second thought. Marina, Bruce, all these players who could have given them some sound advice, gone, literally in a heartbeat. And then they've got, now we're like juggling loads of plates and they're all breaking, breaking around us.
If they want to, make us like Brighton, then that's okay. If they charge what Brighton do for season tickets, which for the equivalent ticket that I pay, and most of us would pay, is £595 a year. I think that's the next season's season ticket price of Brighton for most parts of the ground. It's £595. If you want to make us to New Brighton, Todd and Begdad and Chris Jurasek, then why don't you just reduce my season ticket price to £595 because I'm watching the same level of shit that I would do if I was in the Amex Stadium. So there we go. It's over to you, boys. I think that's about it on the football, really. So actually, I'm going to say this. Fuck the football. It's about the people. It really, really is. I'm going to talk about my Saturday or our Saturday. This is what it's about. Look at that lovely picture of these fine specimens of human beings there. Tony Glover, Dan himself, me and Dan Burgess in the cock with a beer or two with big smiles on our faces was clearly before the game, obviously. But for me, Dan, that epitomizes it, doesn't it? It's what it's all about. Still, you're on mute, mate. You're all on mute.
Yeah, lots of people like Tracy, Mars, Phil Spector and his mum and dad. Just a really lovely football. You know, that's what football's all about now. You know, we used to go, the football's a bonus. Now football's a pain in the arse. Like, do we want to stay in the pub or do we want to go to the football? So it's really good, you know. And also, don't forget Dan's lovely mate, Texas John, who was really nice.
Right.
I
didn't really get to talk to Texas John much.
Yeah, really nice guy. I think he's on his 5th marriage, I think they were saying.
Really? Good blimey.
Yeah. He was very, very nice. But it was just a really good day. The weather was lovely, the weather was glorious. And as you say, it's a Saturday ruined by 90 minutes of football.
It was a great day. I mean, I had a crack. I mean, obviously, I took my nephew, so that's always quite fun when I take. And he got to sit with me. And he sat next to me in Gate 17, which was lovely. But I had the the over the line mental health hub thing at the ground. I bumped into Kerry Dixon, had a nice chat with him. The food bank with Dom and Tim and Cliff was going strong, and Jason and Marco and DJ at the stall. Bumped into John Fleming, Flemo in the cock. Loza, Dan was there, obviously, and Tony, as you know. Phil and Phil Spector was there, and his lovely lady. I bumped into his parents, Mark and Carol, on the way, and they had their Connor mug, so that was great. And two lovely lads came along. One was Scott, who came in especially to say hello to me, which was lovely. Thank you, Scott. And Patrick, or True Panks, who's often in Mixlr, who I didn't realise was in Mexico. He listens in from there. But he was over for a game. I had a lovely chat with Patrick. He was talking to Tony as well. Interrupt, please, Dan.
Yeah, he's looking for a ticket for the Man United game, Mr. Panks.
Oh, right.
He's got a spare for United. Hit us up.
Yeah, definitely. If there's a spare going, True Panks wants one. Well noted. Oh, Nathan, of course, Amari, Tracy's mum. I always want to sing whenever I go. Tracy's mum has got it going on. Remember that song? Stacey's mum. No? There'll be people out there who will know. They're not all old like you two. Anyway, Benny boy, Ken was there. Ken was there. I haven't seen Potty Mouth for quite a while. Bumped into Neil Beard and his family. John Gordon, of course, who was the beneficiary of the ticket. And the best thing of all, after the match, I saw Walter Otten. I haven't seen Waltz for a long time. It was lovely to see Waltz. Tool Paul, Dean, who lives down my manor, Tape Mix, Tim, Becca, Debs, Julie. Bushers was in the Atlas as well, wasn't he, Dan?
Yeah, Ramsey.
Yeah. Ramsey, exactly. And then we had the SGM, which I thought was brilliantly done. Here we go. I got a pic of the SGM. This was great. And I walked into the SGM, and who should I see immediately but Mr. Jonathan Kydd? So I had the delight of sitting next to Jonathan as we watched the SGM going down. It was a good meeting. I felt there's actually Dan's in shot there. Can you see yourself there, mate? Mickey microphone. You're on mute.
I can see my bald head shining off the lights. Yeah.
yeah. It was good. I mean, Mark and
Dom were great, actually, aren't they?
Mark and Dom were great, weren't they, JK?
Absolutely fantastic fronting it. Really take my hat off to them. Superb.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they dealt with it all really well, and they explained the reasons behind the statement beautifully, and were as befuddled by the FAB response as we all were, which seemed a bit unwarranted. I mean, Mark couldn't go into too many details on that, but yeah, I thought they handled the meeting very, very well. Some really good questions from people as well, actually. I thought, which was lovely, and we got a name check for some reason from the lovely Mark Willett, didn't we, JK?
We did. I was taken aback, actually. I thought, oh, thank you very much. Thank you. I had no idea. And then we discovered it was Mark, and it was we then gave our thanks. But I'm not quite sure what I did. So,
I think Mark loves your fan bites. Mark comes along to the Troubadour gigs quite a lot, as well. But I think he kind of likes your fan bites. He thinks that you don't hold back and you tell it like it is. So that's why. Because you did say, why did I get a mention? And I very rudely said it's because you're with me. But
yeah, that's right. You did actually. Yes, you did.
I was only joking.
I'm used to that. I'm used to that. I went. There's something else, but I'll just go along with what Chidge has said and go. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, what he said. Yeah. No, I think it's because of your fan bite, and you tell it like it is. You know.
I hadn't mentioned. I think the conversation at the time was about the FAB and the trust. So I was a bit confused because I deliberately haven't mentioned that. I think we talked about the fact that on on the podcast on Monday that was it on Friday, I should say, that we felt that it was divisive, didn't we? We felt that there was a divisive reaction by the club with the FAB. So perhaps there was an element of that, because I was trying to be as tactful and not as aggressive in my analysis of that. But I really felt that there'd been a lot of manipulation of the truth in that instance. I felt that it was just setting one group of fans against the other and let them get on with it, which I felt was desperately unfair. Just
very poor.
Very poor indeed.
Well, it was lovely to see Mark there, and Cliff and Dom and Mark Meehan, and Daryl was there, Richard Shallow was there, Dermot, the lovely Dermot Peterlis. It was lovely. I mean, the funny thing is, boys, and I maybe this is just me, probably, but the worse it gets on the pitch. We've been down this alley before, haven't we, a few times? But the worse it gets on the pitch, the better it is off it. I mean, I really did generally have a great day, apart from the 90 minutes of shit that they said. Well, it was. I mean, actually, they did. They actually played quite well in patches. It was just the way that Burnley got back that really pissed me off. But I just think that we're truly blessed with some fantastic people who follow this club, and it was just a wonderful reminder on Saturday, because I met so many people. It was lovely. Roll on Thursday is all I can say. And the other thing I will say is that, because of that and the lovely people I know who I get to see on a match day, and of course a lot of the people in the Discord group, I shouldn't forget them. I mean, but that's basically why I will continue to fight for these people and to speak truth to the powers that be and call it as we see it. I feel a real kind of responsibility for that. And it was a timely reminder, because if you're involved with the Supporters Trust over the last couple of weeks, it's been tough for various reasons. But Saturday, and seeing all these people there and how lovely so many of them are, it just reminded me why we fight for these people, why we speak truth to power, why we call it as we see it. And I will, for one, continue to do that. Ain't that the truth, Dan?
100%. I know we don't please all the people, but the people we represent, we do our very best. We work hard. We do it all for free. We give up our time. And we've only got the best interest of the supporters at heart. We haven't got any agendas. We don't get special treatment. What my people think, we don't go to Cobham, which people think we do. It's all fallacies. We work hard. We put our time in to supporters to get the best we can do for supporters. There's no agendas. It's just because we love the club.
You said that absolutely perfectly, and back me up properly. And actually, it's a good time to remind the people here that there will be a new issue of the CFC UK fanzine now. It must be out for United, because it wasn't out. It wasn't out on Saturday. And of course, DJ informed me that I missed the cut. I've missed a deadline, Dan. I never miss deadlines. I always get it right in the 11th hour. But DJ told me, Chidge, you sent it too late, mate. And it was all about
you don't get in then. You don't get in.
No, I'm not in the next one. It was all about the injury crisis as well.
Wow.
I timed it beautifully. I wrote it before the whole injury thing with Lavia exploded, because I'm very good like that. I'll have to put it on.
You failed the fanzine fitness test.
No, I did worse. I was late, mate. I turned up late to training. Fined 2 weeks' wages, mate. Anyway, don't worry about Chidge not being in it. You should go and buy it. It'll be brilliant. It's only £1. Of course, you get it from the stall on a match day, or from any other sellers going around Fulham Road going, hurry up, it's only £1. But if you can't get to the match, don't worry. You can actually get a year's subscription, 20 quid in the UK, 45 quid in Europe, and 60 quid in the rest of the world, or 6 quid if you want a PDF version emailed to you. And you can pay via PayPal, and you can go to fanzine at cfcuk.net. All very easy to do. Now, the other thing that you could do, of course, is you could join the CPO. Now, at the SGM on when was it? Saturday. God, I don't even know who I am anymore. On Saturday, we had Chris Izzett from the CPO, who's the chairman of the CPO, talking to everybody about what that was all about. I thought he was really good, Dan. Did you?
Yeah, he spoke really well. Very nice his staff. Took on board all the suggestions. So yeah, he's a good asset for the CPO. Really smart guy.
Yeah, JK was trying to persuade me to buy Sasha a share there and then, weren't you, JK?
I was.
Yeah,
I was trying to work out whether he would be interested, or whether you could afford it at the time, actually. Because
yeah. Well, I do you know what? I thought about getting him one, but then I thought I'd get him something else. But I think, well, I'll ask him if he wants one. I'll get him one. It'd be a delight to get him one. He can't afford one, so
it was I put you under a bit of pressure there, Chidge. I'm sorry.
No, not actually. Funnily enough, yes, you did, but no, you didn't, because funnily enough, I had actually been thinking of doing that. So it was actually it served more as a reminder. In fact, that's actually what I wanted to do. Look, you lot, if you want to have a share of Chelsea, basically, that's what it means. If you've got a CPO share, then you will have a share in the freehold of the stadium, and of course, that means you have a lot of say when the discussions happen about whether they relocate, move, redevelop, or whatever. So it's well worth having. We are the only supporters of a club anywhere that have this kind of vehicle, certainly in the UK. And as I said, you get a bit of power and you get a bit of a say, and that's what it's all about. So 110 quid for an electronic share, about 175 quid for a frame share signed by a Chelsea player. Just go to chelseafc.com and search for the Chelsea pitch owners. It makes sense. Right. We will be having a very, very short break, and then we're going to be back with our Man United, Chelsea versus Man United preview. Don't go away.
Real fans, real opinions.
I'm Jason Cundy, and you're listening to the Chelsea Football Fancast. Proper Chelsea.
Footballfancast.com.
There you go. Welcome back. I'm Stamford Chidge. This is the Chelsea Fancast, and I am joined by Jonathan Kydd.
Hello, everybody.
And the absolutely fantastic, earning his money tonight, Dan Silver.
Good evening, everybody.
Lovely to see you, Dan. I mean, I go back to it. I was saying in the end of the previous part, I had such a great day on Saturday, and in the part of that was seeing you for most of it, really. I mean, we were in the pub before. We went to the old Atlas afterwards and the SGM. It was a cracking day, mate.
That's perfect. It puts a smile on your face. Whoever's on the pitch, walk away thinking, I've got some good Chelsea people in my life.
Yeah, makes a big difference. It really does, even though the football is shit. Right, but, this is the thing. We'll all be there on Thursday. I'm already looking forward to Thursday when we play Man United. It's always one of the... Man United. Always.
Can I say, by the way, I took the wonderful Gary Phillips, who listens to the podcast.
Gary Phillips?
Gary Phillips, please.
Gary Phillips.
And I took him, and he was a fantastic guest. And
is this Gary who sits with you?
No, this is it's a film connection. And his dad,
right,
his dad worked with my dad, and a big Chelsea fan, and he was great. That's what I'd say. So it's just nice to.
What does Gary do?
He's a film man, involved in film and distribution, and great knowledge. He's given me some great tips about trying to do my dad's documentary. So he's great. Going to get him along again.
Yeah.
So
I used to be a film man.
Yeah, you will. Yeah. Can you give me a template for a budget for a film that I can then submit for funding?
I might have one stuck around somewhere.
What
kind of a film? Documentary or a feature film?
Documentary. Yeah.
Yeah. Docs I can do, but it's probably all changed since my day, mate.
Yeah, it won't matter. I'll get. Hey, I'll apply it. I'll add a zero to everything.
You want some funding?
I'm after funding from Northern Ireland Screen. I'm going to attempt to get it from.
Yeah. I always used to say, if you need $1 million to go and make the film, don't ask for that because it's stupid. Ask for 10 million. Otherwise, they won't take you seriously.
Well, funnily enough, I went to a production seminar, and the bloke said, if you're going to make a film, pretend that it's worth 10 million, even though you've made it for 20,000, he said.
You know what? This reminds me. This is, again, we're avoiding talking about the football most beautifully. But I had a chat with Kerry earlier on, and I was trying to explain to him why our strategy of buying young players was a load of old bollocks. And I said, you've got to understand, Kerry, that these people have been, Todd particularly, has been heavily involved with movie financing. And I said, I used to be involved with movie financing. And I said, the old Hollywood studio kind of strategy always was, you would invest in 10 films. you would expect at least 6 of them to be absolutely awful and make a huge loss. You would expect 2 or 3 of them to just about wash their face. And you would expect one of them to be a blockbuster, which would make enough money to cover up for the other 6 to 9 that didn't really do very well. And I said, it works. I said, but that's movies. We can't afford as a football team to have one player who does brilliantly well and the rest of them to stink the place out, Kerry.
Yes.
Which is exactly what we've got. And he said, oh, yeah, I like that. I like that.
What's Kerry's view of all of this, Chidge?
He thinks it's as much bollocks as we all do, mate. He and I ranted each other for about an hour on the phone. It was like doing a fan cast. My missus said, what the bloody hell's going on? Because I was making rather a lot. I said, I'm talking to Kerry. He said,
because he normally says it's all down to the players, isn't he? In this instance, he must be saying it is all down to the players and they're not good enough. Yeah.
Players, manager. I mean, you know, his view is pretty much indivisible from ours. I mean, we should have him on the show. I mean, if he could handle the technology, I'd only have to ask him. But poor old Kerry he's a man of a certain age, and I think this would be far too much for him to cope with. But you know, honestly, I mean, he obviously, you know, publicly he has to be very careful because he does work for the club. But you know, frankly, his views are not a million miles away from ours. Anyway. I will procrastinate no further, largely because me, Dan, and JK have to go to bed because we're rather old and I can't keep these 2 up too late.
I've got to go to bed now. See you. Bye.
Okay, bye, JK. Nice to see you. Anyway, look, it's coming. You can't go yet because it's the most exciting moment in your entire week.
Oh, is it the team for United, Chidge?
The team for United.
Ooh.
United. It's the team for United. And it is drum roll. Here we go. Thursday night. Can't wait. Here we go. Ready? Boom. That's my team. Now, you may notice I've done something controversial here. Logic's got no bloody idea. But I said, look, I'm going to presume that Chilwell's fit. So therefore, I'm going to stick him in as a left back. But obviously, that means Poch will pick Cucurella.
It'll be the kook. It'll be the kook, Chidge.
The kook. I can't bear watching Badia Shield fuck it up anymore. So I brought Silva back.
He'll pick Badia Shield.
Badia Shield. Yeah. I mean, the worry about Silva is his pace or lack of it. They are pacey up front, United, and that is a worry. Petrovic in goal, Dizazi, because, you know, Chaloba's injured, so you've got no choice there. I've gone Gilchrist. I went early on this. I've gone Gilchrist rather than Gusto because I thought he might still be injured, but I'm encouraged by what I was hearing. But, you know, Perm 2 out of Gilchrist, Gusto, Chilwell, Cucurella, and that's pretty much all you've got. But, you know, there you go. I think that's quite a big ask, actually, to throw Gilchrist in on this one, but he's young and he's got a lot of pace, so maybe why not? And he's just been handed a year extension to his contract, I gather, today, which is rather lovely. In spite of everything I said about Fernandes and Caicedo earlier on, I've picked Fernandes and Caicedo. I've done a Pochettino because, again, I can't, in all good consciousness, throw Cassidy into this. This is Man United, you know.
But don't you think he might just do that? I mean, I'm sorry, you're going on about your team.
No, I don't think he will. No, it's all right, man. Don't worry. We can riff away as much as you like. I can't see him throwing in Cassidy, and I wouldn't throw him in a game of this magnitude. Which means, therefore, Conor gets the number 10 position. Palmer's undroppable. He stays out on the right. I've gone Mudryk rather than Sterling because Sterling never turns up when we play anybody, you know, a big team. Even though he must hate United having played for Liverpool and City. But I've gone Mudryk because I think he'll cause him a bit of trouble with the pace, which poor old Jackson gets stuck in the middle again, which he's no good at. I thought he was rubbish against Burnley, by the way. We didn't mention that. But, you know.
Second half in particular, he was terrible. Yeah.
But again, it's stick him in the middle. He's rubbish. Stick him on the left. He's pretty good. But then who do you play in the middle? It's just such a fuck up that we don't have a proper striker at the club. It's just unbelievably inept. So there you go. I mean, I'm a bit kind of meh about my side already, to be honest, and I think with good reason, JK.
As I said, I think because Chilwell hasn't figured, I don't think he'll pick him. It'll be Cucurella, and Similarly, I get the impression if a player is only 75% fit, he won't play him either. So I think Gilchrist will get in because there's no one else. And as you say, Chidge, I think that's the triumvirate. Gallagher, Fernandes, and Caicedo will reappear. But I wonder if Madueke will get in instead
of who?
Indeed, instead of Mudryk, possibly. No, I think you're right. I think he'll come on as a sub. That appears to be his role at the moment. In which case he'll get on about, I don't know, 60 minutes probably. But yeah, it seems pretty reasonable to me, Chidge. But I don't think he'll pick Silva. I think the breakup has happened now, and that's it. I think Badia Shield still fit. He'll play him, I think.
One thing we've never touched on actually with the whole Silva Pochettino thing, and I think you might be right. I think there is a bit of a split there. Is the fact that Pochettino is Argentinian and Thiago Silva is Brazilian. That's like England, v Scotland, isn't it? Or England v Wales or France. They don't like each other, the Brazilians and the Argentinians.
But surely they would be influenced by that. Surely not.
No. Well, surely not. Surely not. Well, you would have thought so, wouldn't you? I mean, I would like to think so, but stranger things have happened. No,
he played most of the season until Bell Silva opened her mouth, and that was it. That was a catalyst.
Well, maybe that had something to do with it.
That was it, because he played a lot of games under Poch before Bell Silva had a little meltdown, and ever since then he's got injured, hasn't got back into the team.
Well,
I don't think he's that stupid.
Her dig was most certainly aimed at him, wasn't it?
Which is hence the not picky. I don't think it's based on the fact he's Brazilian. It's based on the fact that his wife's a gobby cow.
Well, yeah, maybe. All very weird, but I do wonder. Maybe I'm just being a naughty kind of journalista type kind of nonsense, really, isn't it?
What did she say? Now is the time to come.
Now is the winter of our discontent.
Glorious summer by this Silver of York.
This Silver of York. I like it.
Oh, thank you. Did this Yorkie Silver? Didn't she criticize Poch, or was she just saying he's not good enough?
Time to make a change, and I think I read that as manager gets the Spanish archer, mate.
Yeah. Whereas in fact it was the obvious, the opposite happened. But when did he stop playing for Brazil, Silva? When did that happen?
I don't know.
Does anybody know on the chat when he stopped
Somebody
playing?
Will tell us.
Because he was nowhere near the squad the other night. I presume that's just the end of that. So it's all over with him. So he's not been travelling anywhere. You think he'd be the perfect person to pick if he's not been going on these big jaunts around the world. But clearly not considered good enough, even
after the World Cup. Caroline, there you go. He retired from Brazil after the World Cup.
He retired, did he? Right.
Yes. So there you go. So Dan, are you happy with my team? Do you need a reminder? There you go.
So I would say Cucurella, because I think she was fit enough. I think Gusto will play, and I think he'll do Sterling for Mudryk.
Yeah. I think he'll pick Sterling as well. I'm not. I mean, excuse me, I'm tired today, but that was a bit of a big yawn. I mean, I think the interesting thing is what we've got a problem with at the moment is arguably Mudryk, Gallagher, and Palmer's best positions are 10. Behind the striker. And clearly you can't all play three of them in the number 10 at the same time. Mudryk has looked better centrally as a number 10. I would still argue that Gallagher's best position is an 8, but we don't play a system which would allow an 8. But I think he's better there than he is deeper. Palmer's position, I think, is again best as the number 10. So it just goes back to how ill thought out and badly balanced this squad is. You got Jackson playing as number 9. He's clearly not. All over the place. You can look and go, well, why are you really playing there when you should be playing there? And you can't blame Poch on all of that on Poch. I think he's he's been given a bit of a duff hand. I really do. Anyway, enough of that. We'll see what he picks on Thursday night. We'll be in the pub when the team selection comes through. And anyway, here's a great question for you. You're going to like this. Jonathan, I'll ask you first. Who are the most awful, Chelsea or Man United?
I think you'd have to enter the psyche of the Man United fan to work that out. And I'm unfortunately not completely aware of what's been going on, other than they're not very good. At least they've bought a lot of experienced players, but then they've got injured. So perhaps that's one of the supposedly positives about buying youngsters, but all our youngsters have got injured. So I think they've been mismanaged, haven't they? And that Old Trafford is falling down, but they've now got the fish faces coming with all the money. So you'd expect there to be some improvement. I noticed that Mason's played the other day and scored and kissed the badge, which I felt was a bit
wanker.
I know it was very wanky. But yeah, they've had a terrible season. They've had lots of terrible seasons for the last few years just because of financial mismanagement, really, and never having good enough managers, which is part of it, I think, because they haven't been able to perhaps, I don't know, afford. I mean, when one learns of all the skullduggery going on with Abramovich paying extra money to people, you just think that perhaps it is that some clubs just don't get the top talent from a managerial point of view because they don't inject enough money into it. And I don't think injecting money has been really what the Glazers have been about. They've made some very strange purchases, and they've been interesting, some of them, but they've always some of them have been slightly past it. So I've Casemiro seemed to be a good signing, but then he's been injured. Varane has never ever got,
although a superb player in his day.
In his day, but you know, is he past his sell by? Same with I said Varane has not been anywhere near the player he was at Real Madrid. And yet they don't appear to have a striker, and yet the boy has scored a few.
Freeland.
But he's not on the same level.
He's like he's no better than Jackson.
No, he's not, absolutely. So you wonder why that's allowed to happen. Then Garnacho is the one success story for me.
Simple Jack.
Yeah, very terrific player. But yeah, it's and they've still got Maguire playing off and on, and he's complete liability. So
flathead himself.
Yeah, so it's I suppose it's comparable, isn't it? But we can't say all American owners are bad because the Liverpool lot seem to get it right. So
well, if you remember, we had Tony Evans on the show at the beginning of the season, who really genuinely felt for it. I mean, Tony's, you know, he's got some opinions that don't go down very well, but Tony actually worked at Chelsea for several years on their magazine before he, you know, became the Times football correspondent and all the editor. He was the editor of the football section at the Times. So he knows the club really well, and he's got an affection for it because he still lives in Pimlico, and he comes along a lot. And he was saying, I really feel for you because what's happening to you is what happened to Liverpool when the American owners took over. They completely fucked everything up, and it'll take you a long time to undo the mistakes that they made. And he then accepted that Fenway did that and then corrected those mistakes. But, you know, what Fenway did is that, I mean, they hired Michael Edwards and Jurgen Klopp and left it to them. You know, they backed off and left it to them and gave them what they needed. And boom, you know, it's amazing, isn't it? If you give good football people the tools to do the job, they do a good job. Remarkable.
I think the most remarkable thing about Liverpool has been the fact that they've managed to recover from the team that fell apart after they won the Champions League. So this side is now competitive again.
Yeah, they did very well. Replaced the whole midfield, basically.
Yeah, I think he's done wonderfully. And also, I think they're a perfect example of experience plus the youngsters being able to gel in that environment. I think because all of them come in. I was watching the other day. They come in and they put in a very good performance, but they're part of the whole team. It's a very good team ethos, but it's older heads plus the youngsters with the great energy, and it's how it should be at Chelsea, and it's not. So
yeah. Dan, who are most awful, United or Chelsea?
Going by league position, Chelsea.
Ooh.
Going by fundamental problems, I think we're as bad as each other.
Yeah,
because we're both the fact that Chelsea United dominated football for 10 years. The fact we're both so far from challenging shows how far we've both fallen. United haven't been close. They're dog shit. They've got a couple of good players, but that's it. I don't as much for muchness. It's, it's we're both shit and we're both fallen massively.
we got beaten up at Old Trafford by them just pressing it badly. It was a terrible performance.
Dreadful performance.
We went the few times we did manage to chip over and because they were pressing so far up, we then didn't put the ball away again. So it was the same old up there.
Bloody Scott McTominay scores against German. How bad we're I mean, bloody hell. Dreadful.
Yes,
team.
that's
Dreadful.
bringing back awful memories, isn't it? Now, of course, as JK kind of alluded to, we will have the return of young Mason Mount, I think, for the first time, because he was it is, isn't it? I mean, actually, United haven't been to Chelsea I looked at this because I always do, don't I? The last time we played each other and all of that kind of malarkey, and I looked at the last time Chelsea and Man United visited us, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The last time Chelsea played Man United at home was the 22nd of October 2022, because it's just the quirk of the fixtures, right?
It's a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I know. It's odd because we played them in December and May. So, or something like that. I mean, actually, I've got it up on the other one. It's really odd because we played them away in December this year. The home return fixture is now. The previous season, we played them at the end of May. And it was our last game of the season, I think, or nearest, damn it. And we played them in October 2022. So Mount has not come back to Chelsea yet. So this is his first game back. So it begs the question, what's the reception he's going to get, Dan?
I don't know. It's a good question. Because a lot of the hate was across social media. I think there'd be a few discerning boos, but I think you'll probably get a generally good reception, I think. Because no one really knows a full story of why he left. There's a lot of talk, conjecture with his dad, was it the club, blah, blah, blah. I think he'll get, I think a lot of balance will get a good reception. I think the hate for Mount is a lot of it social media based. So I think, he won't get a Lampard-esque reception, but he'll get an okay reception.
I think he'll
also depends. If he comes as a sub when they're winning 2 or 3-0, he'll get absolute pelters.
What if he scores?
Well, if he celebrates, he'll get pelters. If he kisses the badge, hopefully he does a classic hands up. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, can't do it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to score. Yeah, I think he'll be, a little bit meh.
JK, what do you think?
I think he'll be given the bird all the way through, regardless.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. I just think the fans want somebody to have a go at. I think all their ire with the way the season has gone will be, and the way the club have dealt with with everybody, with the way the owners have dealt with the club, I think will be focused on him, I'm afraid.
We think Mason Mount, your dad is beep.
Well, I really hope not, because it's not the way we do things at Chelsea unless you go to Spurs.
Well, I don't think he'll be booed. I just think there'll be a lot of go on, go on. I think there'll be a few boos, I have to say. I really do.
Well, I hope not. I hope not.
No, I agree. I hope not as well. I'm feeling the way the mood of everybody is. I can just see him becoming the focus.
I think it might depend on the situation of the game.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
I mean, I think if we're winning, I think we'll be very warm to him. I think if we're getting a beating, he'll be the focal point of discontent. I'm kind of with you there, but I hope not, because he deserves. Well, actually, do you know what, Neil? You're reading my mind, Neil. Check this out. I hope not too, Chidge. He deserves better. Exactly what I was about to say, Neil. You're a mind reader. You are Mystic Meg. yeah, I do hope that he gets a good reception because I like Mick. I'm very sorry he went. I'm very sorry about the circumstances he went. I have to say though, JK, he's nailed on to score, isn't he?
Yeah, of course he is. Yeah.
Put money on it.
Oh,
definitely have a cheeky bet. I think I will probably have a cheeky bet on it. Actually, I hardly ever bet on the football, but
why be cheeky? Put a pony on it, Chidge. Put a pony on,
but not a monkey, right?
No, I don't go far as a monkey, mate.
No,
Bloody hell.
Definitely not a monkey. I'll put a pony on it.
You put a zebra.
Zebra. What's a zebra?
No idea, but it sounds.
You just made that up, didn't you?
I did. It's an animal. Yeah.
Dan, you reckon he's nailed a score? And what are you going to do if he does? Wanker!
Yeah. Mason Mount Dallas.
Dearie me. Well, I wonder what. Oh, I was going to say, actually, that's a good point, given the kind of relative toxicity we've had recently. What happens if we lose, Dan? What's the atmosphere going to be like if we get a beating off United?
It's going to be horrific. It's going to be a lot of booze, a lot of. Be interesting if they aim it towards Poch or Bowley and co, or both.
Both.
Where both? Yeah, I think it's going to be. It's not going to be nice if we lose. I don't think we will personally, but I just think it's going to be. Had we lost to Burnley, it'd been a hell of a lot worse. But this is Man United, so if you can lose to Man United, even a very good Chelsea team.
See, I disagree. I disagree. I think it's worse to lose to United than it would have been to lose to Burnley. I know that sounds odd, but the fact is we hate Man United far more than Burnley. There's a part of me that thinks we really fucked up. We deserved that. Fair play to them. They got what they needed, and they're scrapping for everything at the moment. I hate United with a passion. Spurs, Arsenal, United, Liverpool. Yeah. Fuck losing to those four. No, can't happen. Don't like it at all. So I am personally having the massive hump if we lose to United on Thursday.
Hump. I would definitely have the hump, but I think losing to United is more respectable on paper than losing to Burnley.
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah. I get your point. In pure footballing terms, it would be far worse losing to Burnley. But from an emotional supporter kind of basis, losing to United, I can't stand it. City, I find forgivable on the. They're actually a very good team, a lot better than us. But I cannot abide the four matches that I look out for every season: Liverpool, United, Spurs, Arsenal, and they are the ones I do not want to lose under any circumstances. And I go absolutely ballistic if we win. JK?
Part of it is because the City supporters don't abuse us, because it hasn't been the serial abuse other than
they're like us of the North, really, aren't they?
Yeah, there's never but the odd rent boy has come out of their mouths, I think, in the past, but they haven't. They're not stuck in the past with these ridiculous songs that they like both Liverpool and United. With the John Terry song will be
Fever John Terry.
Yeah, that'll have an outing, as it always does. In the same way that Liverpool always do the you
ain't got no history.
You haven't got no history shit. Yeah. So
I think City didn't have a history before the takeover, did they? They didn't really
that's
true about.
That's as untrue as it is to say that we didn't.
I'm being facetious, you know what I mean? But they had even less to go back to.
No.
Where was the last cup?
No.
City would.
Mate, no way, man. They were winning the league in the 30s, the 50s.
No, we're talking about recent history.
Yeah, they were in the European. They won the European Cup Winners' Cup the year before we did. We knocked them out, and they were holders the year we won it. They won the league about a couple of years before that. They had an absolutely.
The last 30, 40 years.
Yeah, they went down to the third division, which we avoided. So they had their uber shit. Well, they had a bit of a shit time the same time we had a shit time, because of course we were playing them in the second division a lot, if you remember.
Yeah. And
then they had that really awful spell, which was around the turn of the century, I think, wasn't it, when they were in the third division. So I think that's why I've never had much of a beef with City fans. I've always seen them as like us of the North, really, because they've had their fair share of shit. We should talk to David about this when he comes on. Can you remember this, JK, for me? Do you promise? Because he'll be coming on in a couple of weeks. I'd be nice to see him again. So we can talk about that affinity, see if we can get him to admit that, because he's a spiky old bugger, so he'll probably deny it. But let's see if we can try and lull him into we'll try and do to him what Pep does to opposition managers. Well, I love you all. I think you're so great. I think you're fantastic. We do that. We'll do a pep to David. David, we think you're fantastic. We think you're a lovely fan. Lovely. Anyway, the Pep bawling out. Did you see what Pep did in the presser? I can't quite remember what he said now, but somebody asked him a question, and he basically answered in the most sarcastic way possible, saying, "It's because I'm a big head and I love myself and I do all this." It was absolutely, yeah. There we go. Bat Night, yeah, about his ego, exactly. I had it right. Where's he gone? Where's Bat Night gone? Lol, did you see Pep's conference about his ego? That's right. He basically said it's because I've just got such a huge ego and I love myself and all the rest of it. It was brilliant. It was the way to deal with these fuckwits, frankly. But there you go. Anyway, I'm digressing and doing my usual thing of avoiding talking about the football. Here we go. Have a few stats for you. Right, he says, not being able to find them, of course. Waffle. Here we go. Well, despite the fact that we were pony-ish against Burnley, we've got a 5-match unbeaten league run. 1-2 drawn 3. We've lost just one of our last 8 Premier League matches at Stamford Bridge, 1-5 drawn 2. However, we've won just one of the last 14 head-to-heads against United, drawn 7, lost 6. The sole victory was in the 2020 FA Cup final. And the last league victory over United was way back in November 2017, which sounds absolutely abominable, which I find actually quite frightening that we've only, there we go. Just trying to think. There we go. Yeah, exactly. It was exactly that. It was in October 2017. That must have been Conti last time we beat them at home. Yeah.
Morata goal has to be crossed.
Yeah, that's right. I remember the 4-0, which is one of the funniest games I've been to because we absolutely destroyed them and Mourinho lost the plot, didn't he? But yeah, so we've only lost twice at home since 2002, which is interesting. There's been a lot of draws against United. In fact, I think something like the last 3 or 4 have been draws. Sorry, I keep whizzing around. I've got so many bloody pages in this script. It's really hard for me to keep track. Yeah, here we go. At home, the last 3 matches have been draws. So 0-0 in 21, 1-1 in 21, 1-1 in 2022. And we lost 2-0 before that in 20, as I was saying. And then it was another draw, 2-2 before that. So it's a weird old fixture to kind of read. Plus the fact that we're both... I think the thing that's really annoyed me most of all recently, JK, is the fact that we haven't beaten them. And they've arguably been one of the worst Man United sides in living memory.
They never seem to play as badly against us as they have been the whole season in the league. It's almost as if they up their game, don't they? Because I think we were expected to at least have more of a result against them when we played them at Old Trafford. So they'd been on a bit of a losing streak, and yet we managed to play so badly that. And also they really were up for it. They pressed like madmen for the first 20 minutes. So perhaps it's got something to do with they are more aware of the fixture being something special for them than we are, because they seem to go for it. There just seems to be it's like West Ham always seem to play us and come play out of their skins against us. It's something about the fixture, and I think that was the case over the last few years, but we've slightly succumbed to their energy recently. I won't be surprised to see them up their game again, actually.
Dan, what do you reckon, mate?
I think we're going to win because we've done, generally speaking, at home against big teams. We've done well.
We have, but the trouble is that they're not. They're shit.
Not a big team anymore.
No, bigger team. I think
biggish team.
Biggish. Yeah, biggish. Historically biggish. I think we're gonna do all right. I think we're gonna put in a better performance. I think we're gonna win 2-1. I think we'll be 2 up. We'll give away a really stupid goal from a corner with 6 minutes to go, and then we'll struggle and be 12 minutes of injury time to get United a chance to score, and then we'll win 2-1.
And they'll score twice, and it'll be 3-2.
That as well. Yeah. No, I think I think we're due a win. We just can't keep playing so shit week in, week out. We have to get a win. Something's got to click and
Well,
think, you know what?
We've only lost the League Cup final, haven't we, in 9 games? So you know,
Yeah.
perhaps,
Yeah.
so
So
it's got draw written all over it, Chidge. Draw written all over it.
Well, yeah.
If we can score first, get a second goal, get a bit of breathing space, bit of pressure off, and then maybe we can get that thing called a win. We used to get loads of them back in the old days.
What's that, Ken? What you call it? A win?
I think it's is it a wine?
Well, I tell you what, I think these toe rags will turn up on Thursday. It's the kind of thing they do when we play a bigger team, and in spite of United being as equally abject as we are, I can see our lot turning up. What worries me is that we've been conceding. Dan said it earlier. We've conceded 2 goals in each of our last 6 games. So I worry about the fact that we might concede 2, and our defence is still a bit ropey, given who we're probably going to have. I worry about their pace, and I worry about their ability on the counter-attack, which we struggle against badly.
They won't play a low block, though, which we struggle even worse against.
I know.
We struggle against everything. I don't know why we're saying that.
Well, I was going to say 2-1, but I'm actually going to change my mind. I'm going to go 3-2. I mean, it's got a draw written all over it, JK. Written all over it, mate. 0-0 draw written all over it. But and I think it might well be a draw because that's been the result that we've had against them so many times. But it was pretty tight up there. I mean, I'm just thinking, I think 2-1 or 3-2. The fact that we keep conceding 2 goals worries me. I don't know.
Think we will concede 2 goals, Chidge. I personally think we'll concede 3.
So we'll lose 3-2.
No, 3-3. I think it's going to be
3-3. Fucking hell, mate.
Yeah.
I really don't know. I'm torn between 2-1 and 3-2. I'm going to say 3-2. All right. I'm hopeful that we'll win. I'm positive. I'm always positive before, and I ain't going to change now. Right now, would you like to play a game? You're yawning. I could postpone this. Well, I can't really. I'll have to go next season. I have got here. They played for both. If you're quick and you want to. Yeah, Dan's got his thumbs up. Dan's excited. I love it. I absolutely bloody love it.
My 2 stock memories of 2 players from the 60s that I want to throw in just to know that I've got at least 2.
Okay. Are you ready then?
Yes.
Right. They played for both.
Graham Moore.
Hang on. Hold your horses.
Sorry.
28 players have represented both Chelsea and Manchester United during
28.
their career. Yeah, 28. Right. And they are go.
Graham Moore.
Yes.
Mal Donaghy.
Yes.
Alex Stepney.
Well, I know it is. Yes.
Mark Hughes.
Yes.
Romelu Lukaku.
Yes.
Veron.
Yes.
Mata.
Yes.
Ray Wilkins.
Yes.
Parker.
Which Parker?
Paul Parker.
Very good. Yes.
Oh, that was my one, you little bugger.
Oh, sorry.
The Falcao.
Falcao. Yes.
One of my favourite players, Mickey Thomas.
Yes.
Mark Bosnich.
Yes. Arsic played for them, didn't he? Yeah.
Ray Wilkins.
Said him.
Oh, Veron.
Yes, said him.
Not use Lukaku, but Mickey Thomas. Mason Mount.
Yes.
God. Struggling now. Tony Godden.
No.
Have we said Falcao? Did we say him?
Yes.
Yeah, I said it.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. That's probably why.
Some clues.
Who? What?
Some clues.
Okay. In the middle of the pitch.
Matic.
Yes.
Of course, Matic. Of course.
Matic. How can I forget Matic? His name is
Tommy Baldwin.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Leslie's brother. Or, yeah, Leslie's brother.
John Phillips.
Nope. Close, but no cigar.
Leslie's brother.
Yeah, it's 5 o'clock.
Leslie
It's
Gore.
Crackerjack.
Oh,
Stu Francis.
Leslie Francis. It's the other one. Whose daughter was married to Phil Lynott.
She was indeed, and the right poppet she was too. Stan Crowther, because you'll never get it.
Yes, Leslie Crowther. Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah,
Stan Crowther. Right. This bloke played for us recently, and instead of what his name was, he probably should have said drink vodka, like Freddie.
Only drink water.
Yes. Stroller. Yeah, Stroller.
Oh, George Graham. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Let's see if there's any down here that you should know. Oh, you should know this guy. Right, this guy won an FA Cup medal playing against Man United in 1976 FA Cup final, but he played for us in the 60s. And also, I think, for Sheffield Wednesday.
Jim McCalliog.
Yes, well done. Okay, Mark's brother, as in Meehan. Not going to get it. Tommy.
All right.
Tommy Meehan.
What era was Tommy Meehan?
I'll tell you in a minute. I don't think you're going to get any of the others, so I'm going to just tell you. Right, Tommy Meehan, Graham Moore.
I got Graham Moore early on.
I don't think you did.
He did.
Did he?
First one.
Did he?
Yeah, very first one.
Graham Moore.
Yeah, but you said that before we started.
Oh, what?
Yellow card.
Yeah. That's 4 yellow cards he's got. He's off twice.
It's a yellow card
it's
for you. Yeah, for you.
Yeah.
Me?
Did get back,
Yeah.
Did get back your 10 yards.
Yeah.
Descent, red card.
Right,
Off.
Mike Pinner, Peter Proudfoot, James Saunders, Jimmy Turnbull, Colin Waldron.
Colin Waldron used to play for Bury.
Well, I'm going to tell you now.
10 games for us.
Right, Stan Crowther played for us between 58 and 60, 58 appearances. Harold Hulst, I didn't tell you about him either, did I? Harold Hulst, 1913 to 21, 111 appearances, 24 goals. England international in 1909, 1 cap, 2 goals. He was the first player to appear in 3 FA Cup finals with 3 different teams. The 1909 winning with Man United, 1912 winning with Villa, and 1915 losing with Chelsea in the Khaki Cup
final. He played once for England and scored 2 goals and never played again.
I know, bizarro.
What is it? Well, if he scored 2, you know, he should have scored 3.
Oh, you know, it was like very gentlemanly then. Well, I'm terribly sorry, old chap. You scored too many goals. You see, it's not really fair on the others.
It's probably the truth, actually.
You know. It's a gentleman's game, don't you know?
We, despite you scoring the goals, we didn't think you took them very well. You didn't think you.
You were very ungentlemanly about it.
Celebrated in a very ungentlemanly way.
You're not supposed to drop your shorts when you've scored a goal. No. George Hunter, 1913 to 14, 32 appearances, 2 goals. In January 1920, he was permanently suspended from all FA football for match fixing. Naughty boy. Naughty boy.
Like Peter Swan and Tony Kay. Do you remember them?
No.
In the 60s.
Yes.
Both from Sheffield Wednesday.
Yes.
Done for Max Fitch.
That's right, I do.
Match fixing. And they never
big
played
hoo-ha.
And Swan and Kay was playing for England at the time, so it was a little bit
big hoo-ha. Right.
Yeah.
Come on quickly because we're way over time. Tommy Meehan, 1920 to 24, 133 appearances, 4 goals. England international, 1923, 1 cap. Tommy died in August 1924 of, we've had this before, I remember this is awful, of an inflammation of the brain, which had reached epidemic scales after World War One. He died just 4 months after playing his last match, aged for Chelsea, age 28. There's a bigger story about Tommy Meehan. I'm sure Nathan was telling me about this, but it's very sad. Graham Moore, who you mentioned, 61 to 63, 72 appearances, 14 goals.
Played for Cardiff, I think, before that.
Yeah, well, that would make sense because he was a Wales international between 59 and 70. There's clever. 21 caps, 1 goal. Peter Proudfoot, 1906 to 7, 12 appearances. James Saunders, 1909, 2 appearances. Jimmy Turnbull, 1912 to 13, 22 appearances, 8 goals. And Colin Waldron, 10 appearances. So there you go. Well, I thought you did rather well then. You've all done very well. I
Thank
commend you.
For the clues, though, Chidge, they were good.
It's my small contribution to this strange little part of the show, which I'm afraid is sadly coming to a close because that, I'm afraid, is all we got time for this week. But we will be back, as you know, on Friday, this Friday. Yep, me, JK, and Martin. 7:30 p.m. To report back on the match against Man United on Thursday night and to look ahead to Sunday's match against Sheffield United. And I very much hope that we'll have the lovely Ben with us, our Chip Butty favourite. Yeah, you like Ben, don't you, mate?
Fantastic.
Yeah. I hope so too. He's rather lovely, and I hope I can get older. I'm sure he'll be on it. I mean, he's young. He might be having a beer. I kind of hope he is in a way, but hopefully we can get him. Right. Just a quick reminder to you eagle-eared people who are listening to the show, who have probably heard me and JK doing an approximation of an advert. To get the best discount off your NordVPN plan, go to nordvpn.com/Chelsea Fancast. There's no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee, and you will help support the Chelsea Fancast because they are sponsoring us. How lovely is that? Right, you can follow the show on all the social media at Chelsea Fancast, me at Stamford Chidge, Jonathan at Jonathan Kydd, and Dan at Dan Silves 73. It's been a blast, boys. I've thoroughly enjoyed it tonight. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as me. But Dan, super to see you. Always lovely having you on the show, and especially on a weekend where I spent a lot of time with you on the Saturday. It seems very apposite.
Yeah, always a pleasure socially on the podcast, wherever it might be. I look forward to seeing you on Thursday for a Guinness or two.
Yeah, when are you going to be in the pub?
5, maybe.
Yeah, it's my day off.
5.
My day off. So, ironically, it doesn't matter that it's my day off and I'll be in the pub early because I'll probably be driving. So I'll be paddling light, but I will be in the pub early. That's my aim. So hopefully
Perfect.
5. Yeah, I'll see you then. Great stuff. Looking forward to it as always. JK, you lovely specimen, you. Great to see thee.
Yellow card.
What for now?
For me, I think.
Oh, for you? Why? What have you done?
I thought I did too many interruptions earlier on. No,
you can never interrupt too much, JK. You know the show by now.
Oh, Chidge, I love you.
It's good to see you, man. What?
Just waiting for VAR to confirm. Sorry.
Okay, all right.
Give me 5 minutes.
Okay. Hopefully we'll be gone by then. JK, as always, great to see you, mate. You've been superb tonight. And I won't, but I don't know. You never know. I might bump into you on Thursday. I hope so. But enjoy the game, mate. That's the main thing. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yes. Well, let's hope we can enjoy the game in this bizarre world of viewing our football team.
I know. Yeah.
Yes. Let's hope we put in a decent performance and we don't just sit there thinking, "Oh, we are so shite." So yeah, let's hope this is an occasion where they do come out fighting a bit more.
Farting or fighting?
Both.
Okay, We don't want to see Mr. and Mrs. Fart again farting about.
Mrs. Fart. What came up with that?
No.
God save us.
I want fight, not farts. All right. Right, you two have been brilliant, as I said. You lot who have been watching on Facebook, we should do this. I'm going to do a rolling crawl across the screen. Remember in the good old days with Dad's Army, you have been watching, Stamford Chidge, Jonathan Kydd, Dan Silver, just on repeat loop as the titles go. And I'll try and remember to do that on Friday. I like that. Maybe we just have the Dad's Army theme as well. Good. I mean, it would be appropriate in a funny old way. Although Martin always reminds us that he is the academy product from the youth. He brings the average age of the squad down considerably. But there you go. Yes. The Facebook people, the YouTube people, the Mixlr people, I love you. You've been brilliant as always. We will see you again on Friday. Thank you for listening. See you Friday. Until then, keep it blue, keep it carefree, keep it. Shall I try that again? I can't even say the
possibly yellow card.
Take 2, yellow card. Thanks for listening. See you on Friday. Until then, keep it blue, keep it carefree, keep it Chelsea.
Hit up your Chelsea.